Hello everyone, welcome to episode 41 of Passion Project, the speedrunning gaming variety show that encourages anyone and everyone in the speedrun and greater gaming communities to showcase their passions in games. My name is Amber Cyper and I will be your host tonight, and if you've got a passion project of your own, go to gamesdonequick.com/hotfix, find the how section near the top of the page and click the link to submit it to the show. Whether that's grinding speedruns, learning and grouting new categories, or breathing new life into a game in an unconventional way, Passion Project is the best place on Twitch to show the world what you love the most in speedrunning and gaming. So before we get started with the showcase that we have planned for tonight, we do have a couple of announcements. First and foremost, Summer Games Done Quick 2025 will be live in Minneapolis from July 6th through the 13th. Register to attend the event by May 26th. Use exclamation point SGDQ in Twitch chat or visit gamesdonequick.com for more information, and I hope to see you there. And also, you can join the official GDQ Discord and add the Hotfix role to yourself, where you can keep tabs on upcoming events, talk with staff, and more, and use exclamation point Discord in Twitch chat for more info on that. So, thank you for being here. Tonight on Passion Project, we are celebrating the 25th anniversary of the release of Majora's Mask, where it released in Japan on April 27th, 2000, by showcasing both the N64 and the 3DS releases. And I'm joined first by Morpheus and his wonderful commentator, Sample Name, showing off the N64 version's All Dungeons Restricted category, with Brandino and his commentator, Gymnast, following up right after that with the 3DS's release's No Wrong Warp category. Morpheus and Samp, thank you so much for joining me tonight and for submitting to the show. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you, Sam?
I'm doing great.
Nice. I'm pretty excited to get to show this run off, and I'm ready to get right into it. I can give a countdown for this.
Yeah, go ahead and count us in. I'm ready when you are.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so Majora's Mask, all dungeons restricted. So what does that really mean exactly? Because most categories in this game for the speedruns end up doing all of the dungeons already. But there are some added on restrictions that go off of the no major glitches subset of rules. Those being, under no major glitches, SRM and text overflow are banned. But with ADR rules, I'm going to be shortening all dungeons restricted to ADR, just because it's a little bit easier. With ADR, it also restricts no equip swapping and no index warping, which is what makes the any percent run for this game so much faster, because it allows you to warp pretty much anywhere you haven't been before, and allows you to duplicate the same bottled contents over and over, which is really relevant for one of the songs later in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, before we were in the call, or in the green room before we went live, you were telling me that this is going to be a bit of an older route, because that's what you find fun. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. So currently, right now, there are some faster strats that you can do in this run. Mainly Remains Escape, and I guess Milk Jump is some form of remote hookshot. Basically, there are tricks that you can do involving the hookshot and bombs, where you can pick up the blue warp from which the boss remains spawn, and that allows you to skip the Giants cutscene without having to reset the cycles. So it saves a lot of time from just loading the game back up and having to get more explosives and rupees. And for the Milk Jump I mentioned, it's just a faster way of climbing Stone Tower. Normally, if you didn't have milk to shoot yourself up all the way to the entrance of Stone Tower, you would have to use your hook shot and do a bunch of bomb tricks with bombs and bomb shoots to mega flip everywhere. That saves some time as well. But I will not be doing either of those tricks.
Yeah, kind of a relevant thing about this category is when it was initially made, it was intended to be kind of a legacy category that emulated like the route that we had in 2013 with a couple of, I guess you could say, like quality of life changes to make the route a little bit more smooth. As time passed, more and more tricks were found, and some of the newer tricks are used in this category and are faster, but to kind of keep up with like the legacy portion, Morph's just going to be doing older strats, so it'll be a lot more closer to what it actually would have been like to run this game in 2013 with like a couple of little things that are really mainly just for quality of life.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said for like running the category or the route specifically that you find the most fun in a game. Like, you can learn the latest strats, sure, and they're cool to know and like can provide a lot of insight into how the game works, but when you're speedrunning, I think it's really important to, you know, run the part of the game, run the game in the way that you find the most fun. And sometimes it could be like, you know, a legacy category that could be using older strats and routes, or it can be, you know, even just a category that doesn't exist yet. Like, oh, I just want to do a partial game speedrun. Like, I don't know why you'd want to speedrun just the intro of Majora's Mask, but you could speedrun the beginning until you end up, like, you know, having the ability to leave Clock Town.
That does exist on the category extensions. Decumask RTA, that is a thing.
Oh my god. Like, the reason I say I don't know why you would want to, but it's like the intro's just so long for this game. But I do actually like this game a lot. It is a really cool speed game. I think sometimes goes a little underrated compared to Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, and a big thing about this game too is that it does share a lot of similarity with Ocarina of Time, with some of the glitches that you can do, some of the tricks that work, but we'll see a lot of big differences right away as soon as, I mean, one of the first things is playing as different forms like Deku here, and something that's really nice about this game is all of the forms have their own unique styles of movement and different things that you have to master to be able to move quickly and efficiently throughout the game. And that's something I've always loved about this game.
Yeah, that's a thing that's always like been appealing for me when watching the speedrun. Because Majora's Mask, Hundo, and a few other longer categories were always like the stuff that when I got into speedrunning in like 2010, 2011 and onward, like Majora's Mask was one of those comfort speedruns. This, Super Mario Sunshine, like just runs that I could turn on and enjoy having on in the background, and just like it's just relaxing. But this was always just a really interesting watch for the reason you mentioned, like how every form that you have to take as Link has its own unique movement, and it's just like it's very visually interesting, even if you don't even if you're not super familiar with how each of these forms works, like from playing the game yourself. So like I do enjoy that that aspect of the run a lot.
So one of the things we can kind of talk about actually already, because MM's kind of known for having a pretty slow intro with a lot of waiting around, but anybody that's familiar with like any % no major glitches knows that this game is usually ran on the English version. But for this category, we actually play on Japanese. There's a couple of time saves that you can do in any % no major glitches that the rules of this category make not really work. So we use Japanese for some of the Japanese exclusive glitches because unlike Ocarina of Time, the Japanese and the English versions of this game, they came out at like different times. So they have some things that work differently in each game. And we can talk about those specifically like when we come to them. But one of the things that we take advantage of right away is just the text speed on Japanese is faster than on English.
Yeah, so the Japanese release, which is the anniversary we're celebrating today, was April 27th in 2000. And while North America got it in the same year, it wasn't until October 26th. So there were definitely enough time like between the Japanese release and the North American release for there to be patches to some of the more game-breaking glitches. So it makes sense that you'd want to take advantage of those exclusive glitches here.
Very nice. And then this was really the first trick of the run, which is the Happy Mask Salesman cutscene skip. You'll see cutscene skips a lot in this game. done by pause buffering, which is pausing and unpausing and letting a frame pass between the pauses. A lot of the cutscenes in this game, they take 2 active visual frames for the cutscene to start. So by pause buffering, we can walk through the cutscene trigger and enter like a loading zone, for instance, like in this scenario, and that allows us to skip the cutscene altogether. This one saves like 40 seconds or so if you do it really fast.
Yeah, I'm happy to get that one. I've been doing a lot of any percent as of recently, and just recently switched back to doing this category, and that room is a little different between versions, between like the unpause lag as well as the camera visuals. So I'm happy to get that within like 12 pauses or so.
Yeah, that actually is an unusual difference. There's a lot of lag differences between the versions that can make the cutscene skips a bit harder with pause buffering, but for some reason the camera itself is actually different between versions there, so you have to use different visual cues when you are doing the trick on English versus on Japanese.
And you both joined the community at very different times, is that right? How did you end up getting into running the game?
So for me, I started speedrunning in 2020, and my first speed game was Paper Mario on the N64.
Ooh, love me some Paper Mario.
And not to like brag or anything, but I got a little too good too fast at that game, and to keep up with like the top times in that game, you need to go for some really extraordinarily bad RNG strats to work out.
Yeah.
And I got kind of tired of losing runs to just pure RNG. So I ended up learning this game to take like a small break from that game. That was back in 2021. And then I fully transitioned to playing this game in 2022.
Okay. What made this game appeal to you?
It was one of the first speed games I had ever watched, like this game and Paper Mario and OOT. I just really like something that I really enjoy, like that carries over between all 3 of those games, is the way sequence breaking works. You can just do things in essentially any order, and it's always like interested me, like what is the best way to complete these games out of order, and I think that's really fun.
Nice. And Samp, you joined a lot earlier, right?
Yeah, so I got into speedrunning when I was like really young. I didn't actually have like any of these Zelda games, so I would always watch like videos on YouTube of like people playing them, and back then you would kind of just run into like videos of people doing glitches and stuff, and so I would somehow through that I found like Speed Demos archive and started watching speedruns.
That's a deep cut.
But I never knew about communities or anything until like late 2014, and I realized that people were like actually like live streaming, like doing speedruns and stuff, so I just figured I'd give it a try. So I started with Majora's Mask like early 2015, so just a little over 10 years ago now.
It's actually really cool. And I'm assuming, like, so what made this game appeal for you as a speedrunner?
I mean, I always loved the like themes of this game, like just as a Zelda game, because I was always really into Zelda. And so like when I thought about like what game would be cool to speedrun, this was just like the first game that popped in my head, along with Ocarina of Time. But like for some reason, this game has just always hit different for me.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Like there's something that tickles the brain for me a little better with Majora's Mask than OOT. I am a known person who finds the games, while historically important and good games like Link to the Past and OOT, like I just always think they're a little overrated. It's like, but what about Link's Awakening and Majora's Mask? They're good. They're great.
I just played Link's Awakening recently for the first time. That game is great.
Oh, did you play DX or did you play the Switch version?
I played DX.
Yeah, both versions are very good. Like Link's Awakening Switch has its own very unique speedrun from the Game Boy Color version, but like it has its own quality of life and stuff. But like there's just something about experiencing the original Game Boy Color version that is very special. And the Oracle games on GBC as well are really fun too.
Yeah, I definitely want to get to playing the Oracle games at some point soon. They seem really cool.
Yeah. Like I like Seasons more than I like Ages personally, but like they're both worth playing, especially if you do like the linked playthrough where they change the game, like each other's game a little bit depending on which one you play first. But yeah, like there's just some folks are saying that they love the more offbeat Zelda games. Big agree. I do like my favorite 3D Zelda is Breath of the Wild, so like that's kind of mainstream. But like my first Zelda I actually ever played was Wind Waker, and I loved that game for a while, and I still do. But then Breath of the Wild just tickled my brain in the right way, and I was just like, nope, this is the hot stuff right here for me. But I didn't play a Zelda game until like 12 or 13, I think. And I didn't play a 2D Zelda until I was like 16, 17, and that was Link's Awakening. Very fun game, really charming in its own ways that like I feel like Link to the Past doesn't quite capture it in the same way. Zelda 2 fan. Zelda 2 is actually a 6-speed game. It's got great music and it's a really fun speedrun. Compared to like it's definitely a different flavor as well.
Also, we didn't really talk about first cycle much at all, but I guess the important to note thing here is that we were just really waiting for Night of the Third Day. And while we're waiting and the in-game time's passing, Morph was able to go out into Termina Field by, there's a little glitch where you can backwalk through the guard and get into Termina Field early and just grab rupees to deposit to be used at the beginning of the next cycle.
Yeah, the main goal is to get 90 rupees to buy the bomb bag and set of bomb shoes, and also to get magic. We need magic to get the ocarina back, so those are the two main goals once you get to Night of the Third Day.
Yeah, and as long as you can accomplish those goals and be at the clock tower door before midnight, then it doesn't actually matter how fast you do it because you're just waiting anyway. So the only goal really is doing those and then getting to the door before it opens.
A lot of support in chat coming out for y'all.
Morph is the man.
And chat, I want to ask y'all, like, you know, are you a 2D or a Zelda? Are you a 2D or a 3D Zelda person? Like, you know, or do you like a bit of both? Like, what are your favorite entries? Did you ever play Majora's Mask? Were you like me, where your first time actually playing it was the 3DS version?
It's so interesting because I don't know for sure at this point because it kind of blends together, especially knowing how the games were released. But I'm pretty sure Wind Waker was my first Zelda game, but there's that when Wind Waker came out, there was a pre-order bonus for that game that came with Ocarina of Time on GameCube.
Yeah.
So, like, I can't remember which one I beat first, because I think I got stuck way more on Wind Waker than I did Ocarina of Time. But, like, those were my first Zelda games, and those were really cool, like, very different experiences for games.
Yeah, like, I can definitely see them being very different experiences, because, like, Wind Waker, I think it's easy to just kind of get lost in the Great Sea.
Yeah.
Because I know, like, when I was a kid playing Wind Waker for the first time, I had no idea what the heck I was doing. It wasn't until Wind Waker HD where I gave the game another shot. Because I was just like, I love the style of the game, and I love the way it feels. I just don't know what the hell I'm doing. And then, like, HD came out, and I was older, and I understood video games better. Because I've played games my whole life, but I'm a smarter player now. A smarter person even now than I was when I was even in, like, you know, 10 years old, 12 years old, etc. So when Wind Waker HD came out, I played that and I was like, I'm gonna 100% it. I burnt out. I burnt out on that. That was a mistake.
That is a big game to hundo.
Yeah, it was really ambitious in hindsight, and I'm like, nope. I did not finish it. I definitely burnt out on it. But I loved everything I did until I was just like, oh my god, there is so much I have to do.
All the heart pieces, all the item upgrades, all the treasure charts.
Yeah.
So much going on.
Yeah. And like, just like, even in Majora's Mask here, there's a lot to do here in Majora's Mask, but like, the world feels like there's something about Majora's Mask's world that's like, that just hits different from OOT. Like, Termina just feels alive with the character personalities and their story arcs and stuff.
That's a great part of the game too. It's like, you know, this game has only got 4 dungeons, so they had to make the world a big part, like a bigger part of the game than I feel like they did for like OT, for example. And so it's like a really cool experience, like with everybody's schedules and the bomber's notebook, and like learning how to actually get through the game and deal with the in-game time and stuff. In-game time is one of the coolest things about this game's speedrun. In any of the, like the any percent categories, you don't really have to worry about in-game time very much. But for a lot of the longer categories like glitchless and 100% and all masks, where you're like doing things that involve people's schedules, like speedrunning and managing in-game time is like a really cool part of speedrunning the game.
Yeah.
That was always my favorite part of playing 100%, was like just like thinking about how far ahead in the run I have to like consider when I'm like if I'm making these mistakes early on, and like how much that'll impact things later. It's a really cool part of Hundo that doesn't get mentioned as much, just because there's already so many things going on in the Hundo runs for this game.
Yeah, like, Hundo's just such a chill category as a viewer. I love it. So, there's the obligatory, my favorite Zelda game is Zelda's Adventure on the CDI. I actually know someone who runs Zelda's Adventure, and actually quite enjoys it as a speed game. I know that there's like a fan remaster of that trying to be worked on, similar to like Faces of Evil, or Wand of no, it's not Wand of Gamelon. Faces of Evil has been fan remastered, if I recall. Oh,
really? I didn't know that.
I think so. I know that TGH played one of the fan remasters of one of the CDI games. It's a good question. I know that our next runner Brandino has been collecting CDI stuff lately. So someone's asking how expensive are CDI games now. I couldn't tell you, but I know that Brandino probably could.
We're just about getting to like the actual start of the run here.
Yeah, we got
cutscene finishes,
Deku Mask, and we have Song of Healing now, which will be pretty important for this upcoming part of the run.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of things happening, basically non-stop action for the rest of the run at this point.
Yeah.
One of the biggest differences from any percent NMG that happens immediately is the fact that we don't have Hidden Owl. We don't hit the Hidden Owl, which if you don't know what that's used for, in all of the other glitch categories of this game, hitting the Hidden Owl will let us soar to owls we haven't hit yet. So it changes the route a lot, because we actually got to do a lot of overworld prep to be able to travel back to areas later once we have required items. And that changes the route a lot.
Yeah, so first order of business is getting Bomb Bag and Bomb Shoes. These are pretty much like the basis of every category for this game. Like, usually when you start making a route for this game, it usually ends up like when and where are you going to use your explosives, basically. Mm-hmm. And then you build on it from there.
Yeah, so the first, I guess that's the first real glitch of the run. The recoil flip to the guard, just you get a lot of speed from blocking damage with your shield, so you can go right through the guard.
Oops. That's fun.
And then this is a super slide. Grabbing the bomb with invincibility frames gives you a lot of backward speed, and you can just travel backwards indefinitely. And then, so Morph also got a glitch called ISG, Infinite Sword Glitch. Well, you have Infinite Sword Glitch whenever you block damage with your shield. If you're in the air, you'll float. So we can take advantage of the bomb damage to do some hovers in the air and get over that fence early. So this lets us go to Great Bay right away. And you'll see Great Bay is pretty important for the route here for various reasons. One of which is going to be grabbing the Zora mask.
And that trick there, called a Hess, short for Hyper Extended Super Slide. Basically, if you are holding ESS position, which is pretty much just outside of the dead zone on your controller, and you roll into any damage source really, and you press target, you can maintain the speed that the damage source would give you from knocking you back.
Yeah, a lot of the tricks in this game actually have to do with rolling into damage. When you are invincible and you take damage in this game, instead of taking damage, you just get a lot of negative speed to recoil you backwards, and we can take advantage of the recoil speed in a lot of different ways. So ESS position keeps Link in like a busy state, and that's important because when you're in that busy state, your speed doesn't go to 0, so you can hold that recoil speed indefinitely. So that's how Morph was able to travel around. And one of the other nice advantages to ESS position is that you're always slightly turning in one direction. So while you're hessing, you can change angles, which gives it an advantage over doing just a normal super slide, because those only travel backwards.
And you probably noticed I did not push Mikau. This guy here is Mikau. He's going through it. But you probably noticed I didn't push him all the way. Normally, there's a cutscene that when you push him all the way to the shore, he gets up and walks really slow and then hits the ground, and then you play Song of Healing to watch this cutscene. You can do a trick with bombs called Time Stop, and you can pretty much put Link in this cutscene state where he can still move around, and that allows us to do some interesting things, which mainly comes from overlapping cutscenes. So we pushed him to the shore after activating Time Stop, and once we did that, we walked away, took the load zone, and while he got up from walking and was triggering the cutscene to start this sequence, we just canceled watching it entirely by taking the load zone. We can just run back to him and immediately play Song of Healing.
Yeah, you don't really see it because of the way the camera is facing, but as soon as Mikau is pushed to the shore, he gets up and starts walking. And normally you're locked in a cutscene watching him, but with Time Stop, that cutscene doesn't play normally. So once it's triggered, you can exit the area, void out, anything to really reset the area, and then the next time that you return, Mikau's on the shore, as if you'd watched the whole cutscene play. And that saves, I think that saves like 15 seconds or something around that amount of time.
All right, so we're on our way now to hit our first owl statue. Super important for later, once we need to start soaring around.
Yeah, big difference from no major glitches, because hitting an owl statue in that category kills the run immediately. You never want to hit owl statues in most of the other glitched categories. But in this category, we actually have to use the normal owls, so we got to hit the owls that we're going to return to later on. So the route right now, we're just grabbing the Great Bay Owl, and then we're also going to grab the Zora Cape Owl here. This is going to be used to soar to later, and also there's a supply pickup here as well, which is useful for the route. And grab some bombs.
Fish.
So we had someone earlier ask if they don't know much about the plot. So the very short version of the intro of the game was, this game is a direct sequel to Ocarina of Time. Link is seeking his fairy from that game, from Ocarina of Time, who left after the events of that game. And he's ambushed by a Skull Kid wearing Majora's Mask. And they steal his horse and the Ocarina of Time, and then he ends up like getting cursed, which is why we were the Deku Scrub earlier. He ends up in Clock Town after teaming up with one of Skull Kid's fairies named Tattle, and that becomes our fairy companion that you'll see throughout the cutscenes and stuff. Basically, Majora's Mask that's on Skull Kid's face is evil and belongs to the Happy Mask Salesman, the guy in purple that we saw earlier. And basically, Link has to go get Majora's Mask back because it's evil and it's going to destroy Clock Town with the giant moon that you saw towards the end of the intro. But I'm not gonna like get super deep into the plot. You can definitely find it online if you want to know a little bit more or something a little less Spark Notes.
So now routing wise, we're in this fairy fountain here. So something that is very common in this game is an entire area is loaded even if only like one part of an area has textures. So in this game, all of the fairy fountains are on the same map, but only one of them has loaded textures. So by getting out of bounds, we can travel into a different fairy fountain and leave. So that way we're able to go from Great Bay to Akana without needing any owl statue or anything ahead of time. And that's one of the main reasons why we went to Great Bay first, because we needed the owls there, we needed the Zora Mask, and then there's quick access to Akana. And then Akana has a shortcut here, which gives us quick access to the swamp. So we're just kind of clearing the entire world map real quick. And all of this is a setup for... Basically, the way this route works is like the first half of the route is like setup, and then the second half is going to be all just like dungeon clearing. It's going to be like a dungeon rush, basically. So we just want to have the map set up so that we can go from dungeon to dungeon at the end really quick.
That makes sense, because if I recall, normally at the start of the game, you're expected to go do the Deku dungeon first, shortly after you get past the first cycle, right?
That's right, yeah. And because of how this game was designed, it was designed with the fact that you're going to have to redo dungeons, you're going to have to, go back to areas in mind. So there's a ton of shortcuts that are built into the game that you're supposed to use when you have like later on items to help you speed up. But we can take advantage of those early on with like glitches and like clever routing and jumps and things like that. So here we're grabbing the nut, the Deku Nut here. The Deku Nut's important for something later on. We want to get some bottles, but we only have one bottle right now, and having multiple bottles speeds up the run later on by a lot. So having Deku Nuts is going to help us with that goal later on. And then having Zora Mask is like another example of a kind of shortcut, because since he's tall enough to stand in the water, we can just run through the water instead of needing Deku to hop on the flowers, or instead of needing Human Link to just swim through the poison. And using Zora's fins, we can also kill the Octo early without needing the boat or like a bow or anything like that.
Normally, you don't get the Zora Mask until what? It's like Deku, Goron, is it then Zora after that?
Yeah, it's usually an item that you would get in like progress towards the 3rd dungeon of this game.
Yeah.
But having it for this part, having Zora Link, he's really tall. He helps with like a lot of the overworld movement and such.
And the swimming is much more fluid than trying to swim as young Link.
Exactly, yeah. And then having ISG in this area let us hover up onto a fence, and then we can just use Deku Link flying to skip the entire right side of Deku Palace, which saves a ton of time as well. And just grab Sonata here.
So someone was asking in chat, why doesn't Morpheus use Zora hovering for this part at all?
Zora hovering, so the main thing with Zora, and this goes for every form, unless you turn on cheats, there's no way to get ISG with other forms, as far as I know, at least. That's just not a thing, so you need ISG to do any kind of hovering, which only only Human Link can do.
Yeah, there is a glitch where Deku Link can get ISG, but Deku Link he can't shield in a way that allows him to hover, so you can't really hover with like normal methods in that way. And having Sword on Deku is a pretty exhausting glitch to get on its own, so it's like very rarely useful. But there is an interesting little bit of trivia where when Deku Link has a sword on his B button, it does Great Fairy Sword damage. So it does actually have some use in like some meme categories of the game.
Yeah, it's interesting that like you can't shield normally, like you can with like Human or Zora Link. Really restricts how you can like play with these forms, but it's not bad restrictions, it's just different. It's like really interesting. Having to get good at bouncing on the water with Deku or rolling around as Goron.
Yeah, we don't get Goron in this particular run, but even the little bit of movement that you get to do with Deku, it's like so different from like any other type of movement in the game, like hopping on the water, using flowers, just spinning in general. All of that is just unique, and that's like a cool part of playing this game.
Yeah, Deku Link generally doesn't get used as much as other forms, just because he really can't do much. He's just a little guy. He can't do much.
Just a little guy.
So he can't really do much, but the bit that he does have going for him, like, it's really unique and interesting.
Yeah.
It's like a big reason why I like generally don't mind playing first cycle, just because I think playing as Deku Link is really fun.
I just think he's neat.
Exactly. Alright.
And yes, I realize now that Zora hovering question was a meme. You have no idea how many people I'll get like asking serious questions phrased a lot like that. So it's like if you don't say it's a joke question, it's like, no, I'm gonna take you seriously. Because like full disclosure, I don't really come from the Zelda community. My partner is a Zelda runner, but is primarily 2D. He actually doesn't run any 3D Zeldas. So I know a lot about 2D Zelda runs, not nearly as much as I'd like about 3D runs. So like I'm actually really excited to have Majora's Mask on.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool things in this run. We're actually gonna now take advantage of the Deku Nut I was mentioning earlier. So another thing ESS position is useful for is whenever you're holding ESS and you use a bottle, it delays Link actually dropping the item in the bottle. So if you press another item that you can't use right after you press the bottle, the game writes an empty bottle over that item instead. So we can create extra bottles over the Deku Nut and the Deku Stick item slots, and we'll use those later on to speed up the run by a lot. And then I completely forgot about this, but there's actually also a little cutscene skip that Morph just did, where normally when you play Sonata, the Woodfall Temple rises up. But if you pause frame perfectly here, you can soar away before the temple actually rises, and then when you come back, it will be risen and you didn't have to watch the cutscene.
That pause is really weird. Because there's a lot of frame perfect pauses that I think are not that bad, but that one is weird. It feels a lot harder.
It's hard to have a good visual cue for that one. In particular, it feels like.
Because I think turtle cutscene skip is generally like not a very difficult trick. It's just really punishing and it's frame perfect, like just like that one. But that one, okay, let's pay attention here. Yeah, that's like not that bad.
Yeah, but this is like I guess this is Majora's Mask's, like, what is it called, like Desert Colossus or Wasteland maybe, where you have to follow a path, and if you choose the wrong path, you'll void out.
Yeah, I think I miscounted my dives on that really long stretch. No big deal.
Someone mentioned that poor witch is gonna die in the Lost Woods, you monster. I have a confession. I didn't know how to hand items over when I first played this game on the 3DS. So not once, but twice, I drank the potion directly in front of her.
So that's funny, because in Ocarina of Time, that would have worked just fine if you just press the cutscene item in front of whoever you need to give it to. But in Majora's Mask, you need to talk to them before you can do anything like that.
Yep.
Funnily enough, though, there is one NPC where you can actually just like show the item and it works, which is like the salesman scrub.
Yeah.
Like, I just didn't know how to do that exactly, so I was just like, I just pressed the button with it equipped in front of her, right? That'll give it to her. No, I drank it twice in front of her. I'm a monster.
Yeah, I'll never forget doing that by accident for the Stone Mask item, where you have to give the red potion in Hundo.
Yeah. I feel like everybody has like a Stone Mask horror story where they drink the potion right in front of them.
It's so bad, because you need to start a new cycle, buy a red potion, and then soar back. Yep. And you're like, the owl's not that close to this guy. So it's just like a big waste of time almost.
It really is.
Also,
like when I did the second time, I was like, now I have to backtrack again. I'm so over this.
Yeah, I wanted to explain a little glitch there as well. Another use for ESS position. Usually you can't play the ocarina underwater. I think you can in 3D.
Yeah, maybe. You can.
But in vanilla you cannot play the ocarina underwater. But we have a glitch called ocarina items, where in a similar way to bottle dipping, if you press the bottle item and then you press like your fins instead, it tries to play the cutscene for your B button, and there is no cutscene, so it just plays a default cutscene, which is pulling up the ocarina. So we can use that to play the ocarina even if we don't have it equipped, or even if we don't have it at all, which is actually useful in several categories where we get rid of the ocarina.
Yeah, I don't know how much that...
look really fun.
That's my favorite part.
I didn't actually get this far. Yeah, I was gonna say, I didn't get this far when I played Majora's Mask myself, like back in 2018. So like just watching the swimming controls, like I think they changed the controls in 3DS, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. It involves, if you want to swim fast, you need to... Ooh, alright, that's fun. You need to use magic to swim fast. Otherwise he does like this kind of normal-ish like paddling animation where he swims like a normal person.
That's a good question that y'all could probably answer better than I could. I'm kind of late to the stream. What exactly is restricted in this category?
Yeah. So this category bans a couple of specific glitches in the game that include text overflow, stale reference manipulation, which are banned in the any percent no major glitches category. This category also additionally bans the glitch equip swap and the glitch hidden owl, which equip swap skips basically what we're doing right now in the game, where it makes it so you only have to grab one egg, and it also completely changes the route to allow some other things that would be pretty deep to go into. And hidden owl lets us sort of owl statues without hitting them.
Something else that's explicitly banned in the rules that I didn't know about until like last week is also GIM, which makes sense, but I didn't know it was just like explicitly added to the rules until recently. Oh, nice. I didn't get the shit out.
So, this is actually a Japanese exclusive thing right here. On the Japanese version, I believe this guard is placed like just a little bit further back than it is on English. So you can actually just walk right around her without her seeing you because you're just outside of her range of vision.
Let's try that again. What is this?
The camera.
What was that camera? I have never seen that. That was interesting. Let's try that again.
Yeah, something interesting about these guards is they can only hear footsteps. So you can side hop and roll right past them and they won't look at you, but if you take one normal step, they will see you and catch you immediately.
It's actually really interesting. Not the bees!
Yeah, so generally if you do any category in this game now, I feel like hookshot is just really good to get, and this run is no exception. It's just like it has so many applications, even newer ones in recent years. Mainly the blue warp remains escape pickup, which will not be done. Oh, that's the wrong button. But hookshot, really good, it's a really fast item, and I messed up the first time getting into that room because to put the bomb on top of the barrel, you want to walk in between the barrels and then press R immediately after you pull the bomb, like probably the frame after. And somehow I got a bomb throw, but I got the extra bomb drop just in case something silly happened like that. And now we're picking up eggs and a fish. Normally that fish is pretty annoying, but we kind of need him here. He's helpful.
Yeah, that's actually back in some of the older routes where we would grab this egg, or if you ever play on like glitchless, grabbing that fish. That fish for some reason is so easy to grab on the Japanese version, but it almost never happens on the English.
Yeah,
but it's normally a pretty big time loss, but we actually just need it in this case.
So that same trick we did with the Deku Stick and nuts, to put a bottle over them, we're gonna do the same thing here with bombs. We need to drop 3 bombs first. And 3 explosives, I should say, is the max the game will let you drop. Before it makes that, like, error sound.
Poor fish.
Okay, this guy gets a little showtime here. Oh, good fight. So, I don't know why, I think this might be the only enemy like this in the game, maybe. I don't know if that's true. But you can like double hit that pirate with the sword thrust. And you can get really fast fights if that happens like that. I got like 3 double hits. Yeah, probably getting trolled there.
Yeah, and that last bottle dupe is important because there's 4 eggs in Pirate's Fortress. So if we didn't have 4 bottles, we'd have to make another trip back here. So we just want that extra bottle duped. But we don't dupe it until Pirate's Fortress because there's only certain items we can dupe. Right now, it's really only stick, nut, bomb, and chew. And we needed both the bombs and the chews. So this was like the first instance Morph had where he doesn't really need bombs right now. So he dropped the bombs and duped them just for the time being. And once he grabs another set of bombs, they'll come back.
All right, that's...
I'm never not amused by the fast ocarina instrument animations.
Yeah. Especially the guitar, it's really funny.
Oh yeah, it's like...
Yeah, I think this one
like,
and the Gronlik drums, I think those are really funny.
Yeah. Also, shout out to the people on the Majora's Mask 3DS community who like to compose or like do covers of songs using the expanded free play version of each of the instruments.
Oh, I have seen some of those before.
Oh yeah, they can be very, very fun.
Yeah, people are like really skilled with that. It's pretty impressive.
We've had some like joke questions coming through occasionally, like, is this even randomized? And is this to earn? And I'm just like, my god, to earn is just such a deep cut for me right now.
Honestly, same.
Oh my god.
Alright, so we've deposited all the eggs. And I'm gonna try to do a cutscene skip here after this first cutscene of them hatching from the egg plays. So if you have 1 frame to press the ocarina button here, but if you pause, you have 2 frames to input something. So I'm going to be trying to mash both the start button and ocarina to try and either get a pause frame, or if I get the ocarina frame, I just immediately just skip it. So let's see here. Okay, got the pause frame, and I can just play ocarina out of the unpause lag and immediately just store away from here.
Yeah, you get the song as soon as you pull the ocarina out. You don't actually have to learn it and play it. So skipping the cutscene there is a pretty big time save.
All right, let me
immediately followed by another.
Let's see.
Also, if y'all have joined late, because we have had some like new folks filtering in, if you have missed out on any of our previous shows, or even just the beginning of this show, or events like Back to Black or Frost Fatales, you can check out our VODs over on youtube.com/GameStunnedQuick. So this run, our VODs for our shows usually end up online within a week or 2 of airing, so if you are more of a YouTube person and less of a live stream person, you can check that out there as well.
So Morph just got part 1 of a series of cutscene skips here. The first one is the one that saves the most time, but if you can get this one too, this cutscene skip here saves a lot of time too. And it's got a lot of steps to it. You can hookshot just the edge of that tree to get onto the turtle without triggering the load zone.
Oh, the camera was weird. That was interesting.
So the goal there was to grab time stop and then walk through the loading zone to trigger this cutscene that we're watching right now. And then by walking right up to the load zone into Zora Hall, Morpheus could get the cutscene to start and then pause buffer into the loading zone to skip it. but it's a little bit tricky with this one in particular because the camera can flip around in weird ways and make it not work.
Yeah, as soon as I see up in that position to do the end of the trick, I noticed the camera was weird, but once you see up at that point, you're kind of just sending it, because once you see up, you get out of time stop. So no matter what I did, that cutscene would have played out unless I somehow managed to get in the load zone, which I did not. At that point, it was kind of like, well, I just hope this input works, which it didn't. It was really weird with the camera there, but now we're in Great Bay. We're going to be in Georg's room in just a second.
So there's a little clip out of bounds there by having the bomb push you through the wall when you fall on top of it. And then similarly to what I was explaining earlier, this game has, when you enter a dungeon, every room in the dungeon exists. It just doesn't have textures or like actors loaded into it. So if we can get out of bounds, we can theoretically get to any of the boss door loading zones in any of the dungeons. And the way this dungeon is laid out, a recoil flip there actually sends you far enough from the very first room to enter the boss door. So we skip the entire dungeon from the first room.
Genuinely incredible.
Alright, this is Georg. The main goal is to hit him with your Zora barrier a whole bunch. Normally you see this fight done, or like at least stunning him with the bow and arrow, but we haven't gone to Woodfall yet, so we need to use the hook shot instead. Which can be a little awkward just because it doesn't shoot instantly like the bow does.
Yeah, this is the third dungeon in the game, but we're completing it first for various reasons, actually. It kind of just works out to be like the dungeon that we're closest to at the moment, but also it has the shortest end of the dungeon cutscene after you beat the dungeon. And we always have to watch at least one Giants cutscene in the game so that we can learn Oath to Order, which is required to beat the game. So we have to watch this cutscene no matter what, or we have to watch a Giants cutscene no matter what. So we picked this one because it has the shortest like overworld cutscene after you beat the dungeon, which is just the turtle talking to you for like a couple of text boxes.
Okay.
And then after this Giants cutscene, we can skip all of the other ones.
It's always really interesting to me how folks route out, especially in Zelda games, and this is true of like some of the more recent 2D Zeldas, like the remake of Link's Awakening Switch, or Echoes of Wisdom, like just trying to figure out how to skip cutscenes. Like Echoes of Wisdom is like, I think like 50 or 60, depending on your category, % cutscene. But they're like, that's including like, it's absurd how like, because you can't skip the cutscenes. It's one of the reasons why the community allows Turbo for cutscenes. But like, there are certain ways that you can skip different triggers and stuff throughout that run. But like, just even routing, like what language is the fastest based on the number of text boxes in the case of Echoes of Wisdom and Link's Awakening Switch, where you can instantly scroll text. But like here, we play Japanese because of exclusive glitches, and because the text scrolls faster and probably has fewer text boxes overall than English. But, you know, then you have like Link's Awakening Switch, where the fastest language is German because it has fewer text boxes overall compared to other languages. So it's just really unique watching how like each Zelda game is routed slightly differently while still having similar principles between them.
Yeah, for sure. This game is interesting. Routing in this game is interesting at times because generally getting the bow early is really good in a lot of categories. But usually if you're getting the bow, you probably, unless you're playing like glitchless or 100%, it means you probably also want to beat Woodfall. And the Woodfall cutscene is a little bit longer because since it's the first, this only applies if you beat Woodfall first. This doesn't happen if you beat it in any other spot, like dungeon order. But there's a cutscene that plays after the Giants cutscene where Tattle starts apologizing to you and all this stuff, and it only works out to be like sometimes like a few seconds faster to watch that cutscene, even though it's like definitely slower. Like the cutscene takes the longest. It just ends up working out because like needing the bow early on is just really important, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are a lot of advantages to bow early. Like, there's a cutscene skip we can do for the first part of the Georg fight if we have bow. It's just when we weigh the differences on this particular version, grabbing the bow early doesn't make it worth it.
Yeah, like generally most runs of this game will at least get the bow first. Like even if they come back to do Woodfall later to beat Adolwa, like generally like doing Woodfall first is pretty fast, and that's not the case for this category, which is pretty neat, I would say.
And here you'll see like how broken Hookshot makes these early dungeons, because we're just like gonna clear Woodfall instantly. We can skip basically all of the first and second floor of Woodfall by hookshotting this little torch here, and then just going straight to the bow room.
Okay, I think this is the first instance of power crouch stab in the run.
Yeah, it is actually. This is So this is another Japanese exclusive thing, because they patched power crouch stab on English, but on the Japanese version, your crouch stabs do the damage of whatever your last attack was. So for a lot of fights, we can do a jump slash, which does extra damage, and then chain crouch stabs to defeat enemies really quickly, like with the Denalphos there.
All right, you want to explain this next part with the storage, long storage?
Yeah, so here we can get out of bounds, and we can do a glitch called an ocarina dive. This particular ocarina dive really sucks because the ledge is really weird, and a lot of times you won't actually fall off of the edge.
Yeah, that is not that easy, like the way I just made it look.
Yeah. But when you're falling off of the edge, you can play a song. And if the song doesn't complete, the way songs work in this game is they're supposed to do their effect after the next text box ends. Usually that text box is the text box that says you've just played the song. But if you void out, that never happens. So we can take advantage of that here. And this is a boss key skip for this dungeon. You can get out of bounds and do a long set of hovers and mega flips to get to the boss door, which is what Morpheus is doing right now.
The ocarina dive first try was wild.
Yeah, and then just like that, we're in the Adolwa's boss room, so we skip needing the boss key, which takes a lot of time. And so here, while he's fighting Adolwa, he's gonna make a text box come up on purpose, and that's gonna the storage that we did earlier is gonna come in handy then, because it's gonna actually finally bring up the text box that asks us if we want to save the game. So that's why he reads the Zora mask there. And so now that this text box is up, since it didn't come up normally, we can move around while the text box is up. And the reason this is important is because as soon as Morph grabs the remains here, he's going to hit yes to save. And then by resetting the game, we've now saved the game with Adolwa's remains, and then we can just reset the game to skip the cutscene that comes after. So now when Morph loads his file, he'll have Georg Adola's remains, even without watching the Adola remains cutscene.
Because you had already watched a Giants cutscene when we beat Georg. So, like,
Yeah.
are there separate triggers for all 3 cutscenes? Like, you know, when the game's looking for, like, allowing you to beat the game or be able to hit the point where you can beat the game? Like, is there only a singular trigger, or, like, does it... Basically, it's like, is there, like, a flag for each cutscene, or is it just one singular flag, regardless of cutscene?
So the main thing is the game checks to see if you have all 4 remains in your inventory.
Okay.
So it's, like, not really tied to the cutscenes at all. Like, as long as you have the 4 boss remains, then the game will let you go to the moon.
Okay.
Yeah, and the only reason we needed to watch that first Giants cutscene is because in that cutscene you learn the song Oath to Order.
Oh, right.
And we need that song to actually trigger the end game.
Right, okay.
So all the other ones we can skip.
Alright, generally I don't do this, but this next segment's a little tricky, I will say. I'm gonna try and get a bomb drop here, hopefully. But sometimes there's a little bit of RNG needed for this part, for the game to work out. Thankfully, I got the bomb drop first patch. Sometimes the game is really not kind with those. But we're going to Snowhead now, and if you played the game casually, you'll know that when you enter Snowhead initially, there's a lot of wind blowing around. Kind of just moves you around everywhere. You can't really do anything. But we're gonna do some fancy stuff to get to the temple early without needing Goron Lullaby. There is no Goron mask in this run, if that wasn't made clear already.
Yeah, I was surprised when you mentioned that y'all don't get Goron mask at all.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if we did mention that. Yeah, no Goron mask this run. So we have to get a little creative entering Snowhead.
Yeah, the sequence of events here are all to skip needing Goron and the Goron Lullaby. So we're doing the fairy fountain trick again. We're going to use that to get out of bounds and get to Snowhead quickly, since we haven't been to Mountain Village or any of the Snowhead areas yet. Hovering out of bounds.
Oh, I didn't go high enough. That's interesting.
Oof.
Let's try that again. It's a good thing I got that bomb drop. Not for its intended purpose, but that works out. Yeah, thankfully with these strats that I'm doing, I have more than enough extra bomb shoes. Let's get over here to this corner. Alright. Try that again. Can't see. Alright.
So now he's in the Snowhead Fairy Fountain. There's just no textures loaded. And then here the wind starts pushing immediately, but when you're slashing your sword in this game, you can't fall off of a ledge. So Morph's gonna quickly get ISG here to basically, when the wind pushes him towards the edge, he stays on the ground. And that arrow drop there is actually RNG, but it's very useful. And so this next part is pretty RNG dependent. He's going to do a super slide here, and he needs a good wind cycle.
Didn't get the A press out of my unpause. That's weird. Let's try again. I need to stop pausing late. Alright.
And that is good enough. So basically, a good wind cycle just means there's a lot of time between when each wind blows. So now that he's over to the ramp, this is kind of the easier part. He's just going to basically run up this ramp towards the dungeon entrance. And we keep ISG here just to make sure that we don't fall off of the ramp at any point. Now the snowballs are still rolling down the ramp, and if the snowball hits more, he'll lose ISG and plummet off of the side of the ramp, which would be really bad.
Let's just wait for this guy.
Yeah, just make sure to dodge them.
Yeah, if you notice, I did blow up one of the snowballs that landed on the ground. There's usually a snowball right up here at the very end, but if you happen to break the snowballs, they won't spawn again. So there's no threat of this guy spawning.
Yeah, and because that snowball can drop arrows, which we actually need here for another trick, it's a really good idea to do it.
Oops. I just hit my keyboard like I was splitting.
This is a glitch called action swap. If you try to pull out an item in various different scenarios, like in this case, right as a text box is coming up, you do a glitch called quick draw, where you tell the game that you're pulling out an item, but you don't actually pull it out. And the next time that you press that item, it will just appear in your hand without any animation or anything. So if you quick draw an item while you're holding a different item in your hand, like the hook shot, which is a projectile, you can pull out like a Deku stick in this instance, and you'll try to perform like a projectile action with the Deku stick. So you shoot an arrow using the Deku stick, and with the Deku stick, it actually lights the arrow on fire, so you can melt the ice in front of that door and skip a different part of the dungeon. Now this is an old school strat. Getting a ISG and hitting the whiz robe with it.
I figure I have so many extra bombs, I'd show it off. It's a little easier too than timing the crouch stabs.
Yeah, because this whiz robe usually has a second phase. There's a little cutscene that plays, but if you hit the whiz robe one frame before that cutscene starts, he'll just take damage and the cutscene won't play. And with ISG, you're swinging your sword, or stick in this case, every single frame. So you can't miss it. And then this is another Ocarina dive here to store Song of Time once again. You can clip through the little corner there with enough speed. And then the rest of the dungeon is just making it towards the boss door. We have everything we need to beat the dungeon now.
Yeah, this is...
You were not kidding when you said this is just non-stop, like, once we get past the intro.
Yeah, it's a lot of gameplay, and I think that's, like, one of the most appealing things about this game is that, like...
Oh, yeah.
You do eventually get to that point where it's just, like, you don't even really have time to breathe.
I'm gonna use fire arrows.
Yeah, a little...
I just want
with the explosive count.
I just want choose for the next hover. Or for this.
So a lot of hovers here to skip using the Goron mask. Basically, you can skip punching that pillar, and then we can skip using the ramp here with some more hovers.
All right. Now one more trick here, and we're in.
Another corner you can clip through with enough speed. You can just jump right through the door there. Alright, and it's just the goat fight now.
Yeah, this fight is a little weird. There's a lot that can go wrong. Well, not a lot. There's one thing that can go wrong, and that's out of your control. So I'm gonna hope that doesn't happen.
Snow's a big RNG section, really. There's something of a stun lock for this boss. He always runs to this spot and stops at the beginning. So by timing some arrow shots, we can keep him there until, well, that was a little bit bad luck.
I have 2 shots on him, so I need 8 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm gonna bring this text up.
Good stuff.
Normally we would want to keep him stun locked, and then when we kill him, he'll run and be right in front of where Morph is standing right now. It's not too bad when he gets out of the stun lock though, so we can just go to the other side of the map and then, you know, still continue like normal. It's not really like a run killer or anything.
Yeah, this is a good chunk of time. It's a lot more annoying in the if you're doing the remains escape trick. The whole like time save you get with remains escape comes from death warping. So getting hit by any lightning at all usually just auto kills your run in those instances, but I can just make my merry way over here, press A and reset.
Yep, so that's the Ghost Remains, so now we just need Twin Mold's Remains before we can go to the end game.
Twin Mold's the other fight that like got really drastically changed between N64 and 3DS, if I'm recalling correctly, right?
Yeah, I believe it's real different.
It involves a lot more usage of the Giant's Mask, which is also like used in this game as well. There's, I think it's just all masks that really has a use for it when it comes to speedruns, but more often than not, you'll be seeing people use the bow for Twin Mold.
Yeah, like that's what I remember for Twin Mold for N64 ones.
Yeah, as people have gotten better with the bow, Giant's Mask has gotten like less and less appealing for speedruns. Because Giant's Mask has a lot more RNG attached to it, and in general, it tends to not really be that fast compared to just being really good at sniping.
Its main usage for a long time before Remains Escape was implemented into current runs is it was good in all masks because you could activate song storage, and while in Giant's form, you would not deplete any magic, so you could do the fight with unlimited magic and not risk the moon crashing, because the moon is like within minutes of crashing usually in the older routes for all masks, but I think that's been routed out too.
More little Hess here to get to the entrance to Stone Tower real quick.
If you were looking paying close attention to my rupee count, you probably noticed I have 20 chews, even though I definitely only had money for 1 set of chews. If you mash the A button with this, I think you need at least 69 rupees in your wallet. I don't know how much exactly, but if you mash the A button through the text, you can buy 2 sets of chews, or like 2 sets of bombs if you need them. So even though I only had money for 10 chews, I ended up getting 20.
Yeah, the rupees, they count down like every frame basically. So if you can get through the text box fast enough, then with not enough rupees to normally buy 20 chews, you can buy them. And the more rupees you have, the more lenient it is. So like if you had 70 or 71 rupees, it would have been even easier.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure 69 is like the least you can do it with, maybe.
You can do it with 67, I think, but it is like multi-frame perfect, I believe.
Oh my god. I did not know that. So we're making our way up Stone Tower right now. Lots of mega flips involved, since we don't have the Elegy of Emptiness.
Yeah, this is one of the changes that Morph opted for legacy reasons. Modern ADR runs actually skip this climb by doing a hookshot jump from the bottom all the way to the top. But this way is just so classic.
I'm surprised I didn't get hit there.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm gonna get this bomb drop, and I'm also going to get this fairy. Not yet. No pause yet. We're gonna do another time stop here. To activate this block, and once we cancel time stop, we can fly across.
Yeah, and that's how we can do the Stone Tower climb without Elegy. So Stone Tower is a very... I mean, all the temples in this game are pretty broken, but you actually have to do a good bit of Stone Tower here, but there's a lot of cool little clips that you can do.
Yeah, I'm lining up to a specific spot on the door here, so that I can just hold A in this corner and fly through the wall.
Yeah, with enough velocity and the right angle, Zoralink will go just right through that corner. You can actually clip to that corner as any of the forms, but for some reason they all need like different amounts of speed to clip.
Yeah, you can do that setup list too. You need like a really good diagonal for it, but it is possible.
Yeah, you have to win the controller lottery.
Full N64 controllers. I actually don't hate the layout of it, like a lot of people do. It's just the control sticks.
So, this trick here is a weird shot. It's another glitch that uses the recoil speed from like a damage source. We use a bomb in this case, and whenever you pull out an item with that high speed, it messes with Link's actor and can put him out of bounds, like detached from where he would normally be standing. And if you go into first person with like your item during that time,
whoa,
what happened there?
I have no idea, dude.
You can knock your first person camera out of bounds and hookshot things you normally couldn't hookshot. Like in this case, hookshot in the chest here, through the wall. And once you latch onto a hookshot target, Link's go into that target, whether there's a wall there or not.
Let y'all know that there are, like, this is a Majora's Mask 25th anniversary episode here of Passion Project, so if there's anything if you ever want to see other similar kind of celebrations, we have those on the weekends a lot of the time, but you can check gamesdonequick.com/hotfix. You can check out our season's lineup of shows. Our spring season is packed, and you can check out the schedule for an in-depth look at every week's runs. Like, I know we have tomorrow at 1 p.m., we're gonna have Jiggy hosting Oops, You Died Too, so if you like Souls-likes, that's coming up tomorrow. But he has also done Zelda-centric episodes, or Zelda-centric events. And we had a Skyward Sword on as a special episode instead of as seen on TV a couple of weeks ago too. So definitely check those out if that's your jam. I'm assuming this is a death warp, right?
Yeah.
I thought it was so funny you mentioned "Oops, you died" like right when this was happening.
Yeah, my health was a little too weird there. I had like I generally try to finish that fight with either like half a heart or full health, and I was at like a heart and a half, and I was like, I'll just take the extra time to death warp, so I just have a full 3 hearts again. There's not really an easy way to heal at this point, aside from like RNG pots. I also just did what's called a bow extension. I can literally just stick Link's hand through walls with the bow and reach some targets that are literally through the wall. You usually see it used for that stone tower gem to flip the temple, and sometimes in Woodfall as well. It's pretty helpful because you don't have to move the blocks.
Yeah, usually like in the vanilla game, you're supposed to move the block to reveal a gem that you hit with the light arrow to flip the temple, but you can hit it from behind as well. So that's why he needed to shoot through out of bounds there. And a little long jump to get to this side of the dungeon where we're gonna be doing one more song storage. This one's actually a little bit hard because you void out really fast in this room, so you actually have to play the song pretty fast.
Let's see if I can get a health drop here. Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, Twin Mold does a full heart of damage for every hit. And missing that long jump the first time put me at 2 hearts. Not really ideal.
So this is a pretty intricate boss key skip here. Get to like a pretty specific spot out of bounds here, and you can go right through the wall. And then with good space mega flips, you can hit the boss loading zone and skip the boss key and basically all of Inverted Stone Tower, all of the little puzzle rooms and everything.
It's interesting to note that this boss room is only loaded in when you're in Inverted Stone Tower. It doesn't exist in the normal version of Stone Tower.
Yeah, so that's actually why the light arrows are required, because we have to make an Inverted Stone Tower. And then, so some notes about fighting Twin Mold with arrows. Twin Mold actually takes like extra elemental damage from the elemental arrows. So the blue Twin Mold takes 3x damage from the fire arrows and 2x from the light arrows. And the red Twin Mold takes 3x damage from the ice arrows and 2x from the light arrows. We have fire arrows here, so it's really easy to use them for blue. And then light arrows are the next best thing we have for red. So we'll use whatever magic we have left for red and then just finish them off with normal arrows.
No idea how you get this good at aiming. Oh, this game.
I think if... I mean, you probably speak for this better, Morph, but you must have like tons of hours on just this fight alone.
Yeah. It was rough doing this fight for me, and when I learned 100%, because Hundo just has less arrows and also more magic used for this fight, so that fight was like pretty tough in 100% for me for a long time. Just because like everything is just really tight, so I got really good at just knowing when to take my shots, and the 80% category is similar in that fashion. You have way more arrows and magic, but you only have light arrows, so you have to hit blue with way more arrow shots to get fast cycles. So that's probably like one of the things I have the most practice in, is that fight alone. It's an entirely different game, pretty much.
Oh, yeah. Like in the previous boss fight, the just watching you like as the boss was running by you, just watching you hit the boss with every arrow. I was like, there's no way. How do you do this?
Yeah, it's definitely like last case scenario too, like having Goat run around the room like that. You really don't want to see that happen. It's really unfortunate, but you have to time them too because he's like moving away in real time.
Yeah.
So you have to time the arrow shots to not be too early. Oh, 2 bombs. I don't need 2, but I need 1.
So this is like, when I think of like old Majora's Mask routes, grabbing this bomb drop is like the most like nostalgic thing ever, because this used to be like make or break for so many runs. You would just go into the field and hope that you get a bomb drop from the bushes as like one of the very last things you do in the entire run. But luckily, Morph got 2 drops there, and then we're gonna use the dog here for a very specific purpose.
There we go.
So he gets ISG off the dog. And he actually needs to target the dog. Targeting the dog unlocks the camera, and it's going to let him turn around in this hover and then start hovering back towards the clock tower door. And then by hovering over the door here, we can enter the clock tower even though it's not night 3. So you get a version of this cutscene where the sun is out and the sky is blue and everything.
Really interesting seeing it like this every time.
Just seeing the moon there in the daytime is really funny.
It's in the daytime and it's way closer. I think the moon is not this close during the first day. It's really funny.
While we're going through this, I just want to remind everyone that Black in a Flash is returning with an event for Juneteenth from June 20th to the 22nd. So if you want to learn about how to join the Black in a Flash community, submit your runs, you can do that by visiting gdq.gg/BAF. If you want to check that out, support that event, and come check that out in June. It'll be really awesome. The Back to Black event back in February was also quite good.
Orpheus, why aren't there any cats in Termina? That's a great question.
That's a really good question.
I can't think of one.
Needs more cats.
I mean, if you like don't think about it too much, the Keatons are like kind of.
The one Keaton guy in the game.
Yeah.
So now we've got probably the longest cutscene in the game. Longest sequence of cutscenes, I should say. Like, once you play Oath to Order, it's like probably 5 minutes of cutscenes, low-key.
Yeah, this is like the bathroom break of the run.
Mm-hmm.
Where like when you get up and just walk around to try to get ready for the Majora fight.
The Majora fight is like really intense casually as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're not exactly the best equipped for it. Like, you know, some of the longer categories get to use Fierce Deity Mask, but we just gotta fight Majora with what we got.
Even things like Mirror Shield, like in Glitchless, are really helpful. Like if the mask phase goes pretty poorly, you at least have the Mirror Shield to deflect the laser beam it shoots. We don't have any of that. We just gotta wait it out. We've got Zora Mask, light arrows, a stick, and some bombs. That's about it. I did get extra bombs, which is nice.
The extra bombs are actually gonna come in clutch, I think. For the Incarnation especially.
Yeah, Incarnation and Wrath.
So I just want to remind everyone as well, like we may not be able to, like, we may have to wait out this cutscene, but if you subscribe, you don't have to wait out ads when those happen on the channel. So, like your subs, your Prime Gaming subs, your gift subs, those bits that you cheer here on the GDQ Twitch channel, they do help support Games Done Quick Hotfix. If you enjoy watching speedruns and watching our programming here, We've got some fantastic shows. Consider subscribing to the channel, and you can get access to our emotes, which are really awesome, and have ad-free viewing, not cutscene skips, unfortunately, and chat with the other subscribers during our replay. So if you're just joining as we're at the end of the run, we will be replaying both this show and As Seen on TV immediately after the Majora's Mask 3DS run, and the show wraps up. So if you are rising at 11:35 p.m. Eastern Time, which I used to when I worked overnights, you get to watch the show from the beginning. You can also use Amazon Prime with Twitch too. That would get you access to our emotes if you use your Twitch Prime here on GDQ.
Alright, so at this point in the game, we've got all the giants freed from their respective areas. They stopped the moon, but it was really the mask that was in control of everything. And he's forcing the moon back down, even with the giant strength, so we're gonna go up there and stop this guy.
Yeah, we're gonna go beat up a mask.
Pretty much.
Which sounds ridiculous when you say it out loud like that, but we are gonna just go beat up an evil mask.
It sounds ridiculous, and then it grows legs, and you're like, uh-oh.
It's like,
Something ain't right here.
Like, that's not normal.
Alright, one more super slide for the road.
I love how ridiculous the super slides look every time.
This was like the trick, like whenever I saw it as a kid, like I was like, I need to learn how to do this.
Alright.
What a wild boss fight this is. Here we go.
So a fortunate supply drop in the room here for arrow and magic, and then take on Majora with what we got.
Alright, this phase is a little finicky with Zora Mask, because we're gonna try and stun the mask with the Zora fins, and they can act a little wonky sometimes. So hopefully that doesn't happen. I do have bombs in case I need to use them, but I'd rather save them for the later phases. Also,
the first hit is usually the scary one too, because the mask can fly off in like various directions. Okay. I don't know what you were talking about.
As on cue, man. That's just how it goes.
So ideally, Morph wants to hit the mask 3 times with light arrows, and he wants those hits to be the first 3 hits, ideally. But when the fins clink off the wall, sometimes they'll just go right back through the mask and double hit, which isn't the worst thing in the world. It just loses a bit of time because it forces extra mask transformations.
I do have bombs though, so staying human here isn't the worst thing.
Yeah, there's a funny little trigger here. If you drop a bomb on the flower in the middle, it will always knock the incarnation down, no matter where he is on the map. That's what Morph is doing right now.
I'd say we haven't had a boss fight in a Zelda game as unhinged as Majora.
Yeah, this one is pretty intense. And then, ooh, that was really good luck.
That was really good.
Yeah.
So the Deca Stick Jump Slash does 4 damage. So we store that for the power crouch stab. So every crouch stab's doing 4 damage, which just melts Incarnation and Wrath here. And then the bomb throw forces.
That was weird. I'm gonna wait.
That was, I don't think I've seen that before.
Alright, after 10 crouch stabs is when time is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Time.
GG.
GG.
Thank you.
What a fever dream of a boss, I swear.
That was really crazy too. Generally, like, Majora does not move forward at you like that with the spin, and then it managed to get hit by the bomb, which it never really gets hit by bombs. That was interesting. That was a weird turn of events, but it worked out.
Yeah, that was a 137.34 on our end.
Nice. Not bad.
Solid.
Very solid run. Very fun run. Like, this is always such a fun game to watch. And chat, thank you all so much for coming out and supporting the heck out of Morpheus. Y'all have any shout outs that you'd like to make? To the community, or shout yourselves out. Where can they find you?
Shout outs to the Majora's Mask speedrunning Discord. Bunch of really friendly people, always willing to help out anyone who has any questions. You can find me at literally anywhere, Morpheus080 on Twitch, Twitter, Blue Sky, all that stuff. And what about you, Sam?
Yeah, I mean, I'm here repping the MM community. If anybody's interested in picking up the game, definitely join the Discord. Follow the Majora's Mask game on Twitch. Find a stream of someone speedrunning it and just watch and say hi.
I've gone ahead and linked y'all both in the chat. Definitely go follow these two, especially if you like Majora's Mask stuff. And also make sure that you stick around, because coming up next we do have the 3DS version of this game. We're going to be doing the No Wrong Warps category with Brandino and Gymnast. So that's going to be really fun, and you get to see the direct comparison between... Hello everyone, welcome back to episode 41 of Passion Project, the speedrunning and gaming variety show that encourages anyone and everyone in the speedrun and gaming, just gaming. Anyways, I want you all to share your passions in games. This is the best place to do that. So we are celebrating the 25th anniversary of the release of Majora's Mask, and we just wrapped up Morpheus's N64 version run, showcasing the All Dungeons Restricted category. Now we've got Brandino and his commentator Gymnast following right up after with the 3DS release's No Wrong Warp category. So hopefully this run goes better than my ability to speak the English language. So Brandino, Gymnast, thank you both so much for being here tonight. How are y'all doing?
Hello, good morning, and welcome to Majora Part 2, where things are a little bit different.
Just a little bit.
I'm Brandino, lover and runner of many 3DS games in general, but 3DS games seem to have been where that things ended up. I don't know, it just kind of happened. But with me is Jim, who is a Zelda expert.
Hello, I am Gymnast86. I also like 3D games, as long as the word Zelda's in the title, which this is one of, so I'm here to talk about it.
I'm excited. This is a game that I think a lot of people haven't had the chance to really get to see in its shining glory. Just because, it's a little bit harder to get good footage of a 3DS game, but luckily we're bringing that to you guys today. So without further ado, I think I can go ahead and count us down. In 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck, have fun.
Gamer time. So what's to say about MM3D? They made more changes than they made in OOT 3D, for sure. I would say the changes range from we have quality of life changes, your basic graphical changes. They've done some remodeling of places, like Clocktown's a little bit different. Some of the dungeons have been remodeled a little bit. They added fishing, which is in my opinion, the most important change.
I can't have a complete Zelda game without fishing.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, not useful for the speed run, but it exists still, so...
Exactly.
And and a lot of the bosses were changed as well. So they were reworked from slight changes to complete overhauls. So we'll get into those as we
oh yeah.
So
there's some
boss fights.
They make some very interesting boss changes. Some of them are pretty I kind of like some of the boss changes, even if they're not maybe as fast as N64. Goat is an example where I actually quite enjoy the boss fight, even if it's not as fast as it does on N64. But then you get into Georg, and I do question some of the changes a little bit. But that's we're getting ahead of ourselves. We're getting robbed right now. Link,
We're just getting bullied.
Link stays on the ground for quite a long time, despite all the adventuring he did in Ocarina of Time, which this game is a direct sequel to.
Oh yeah, somewhere along the way, Link lost all the equipment he had except for his sword and shield, so...
Sequelitis. He caught it. It's the worst. They got that in Banjo-Tooie, too. They just forgot all the moves.
So while we're doing the very long intro, not unlike the N64 counterpart, we have a long intro here. So we have plenty of time to talk about this. I know you're into 3DS games in general, Brandino, and you run a lot of those. How did you get into Majora's Mask 3D specifically?
Well, I actually initially I was learning OOT 3D, and Jim and I were just talking about this. But OOT 3D I think is a bit more difficult of a game than MM3D, just for a number of reasons. Some of the tricks are a little bit harder, and you kind of a big thing that MM3D has to its advantage is that you can use the home menu to buffer frame perfectly every move you make in this game, which is going to be so important for a lot of the tricks that we do. Whereas OOT 3D, you can't actually frame buffer. You got to be a little bit better at timing, especially frame perfect inputs. So MM3D started, I was doing OOT 3D and I was a little bit frustrated because some stuff was a little bit difficult. So I was like, well, let me try MM3D because I like this game too. And I kind of fell in love with this speedrun. It is really, really cool. It's like, it's different enough from N64 to really like warrant being its own version in terms of like tricks in general, like movements and stuff, and even just routing is quite different, even if you've seen N64. And ignore that log. Sometimes you just fall. It happens. One big feature you might notice, and something that's really cool about playing this game on new Nintendo 3DS, is that we have the C-Stick available to us. So I was able to like very effortlessly rotate the camera there. The C-Stick is kind of one of the best innovations of this version, to be honest. It's great.
Yeah, having the free cam is makes it much easier to control the camera just in general, because the camera in this game is a little shaky. It sometimes likes to do unintuitive things and make your movement interpretation a little weird. So the free cam can come in for certain parts to help alleviate that. In
Absolutely.
My experience playing this game, at least.
And for like some tricks later on, the C-Stick, even just like touching the C-Stick a little bit, will set up the free cam in such a way where the camera will stop moving in kind of accordance with Link's direct actions and will stay still for you. And that makes setting up certain tricks a lot easier. So the C-Stick integration in this game is great. Now, I believe you can also do Circle Pad Pro if you're on older 3DS models. Is that right?
Yep, that's what I did when this game came out.
That's... Wow, that's incredible. I never actually, as much as I'm a huge 3DS head, I never had a Circle Pad Pro because I initially had thought that you could get them to play Kid Icarus Uprising with like a C-Stick, but it turns out it's just to play it if you're left-handed, so I never got it.
I would like that because I'm left-handed.
Unfortunately, I'm right-handed, so I was like, I don't know what else this is for. And then I eventually got the new 3DS when MM dropped, so it was like, by that time I was like, okay, well, I got the little C nub now, so I have all I need.
I think in my experience of using both, I definitely prefer the actual circle pad of the Circle Pad Pro over the little new 3DS nub.
Yeah. It's the thing is that the 3DS nub is very unwieldy, and it doesn't, like, the directions you're holding are not very felt, if that makes any sense. Like, you can't really tell if you're holding left or right. You just gotta know that you're pushing the nub in the right direction. Some people I know will do a pretty simple mod for their 3DS where they swap it out with a PSP C-Stick or a PSP stick, so that's one thing you can do. But I chose to keep mine the same. It's a little nub. And another thing you'll see here, like some updated graphics, like the Deku's got a little spiky thing on his head now to do damage to enemies whenever he's spinning. And he spins at kind of like a slower rate than N64. So like his like momentum doesn't carry as much into his spins as it would on N64. So like some things like being able to jump over ledges and stuff require a little bit more effort on this version.
And right now, instead of taking the absolute fastest direct path to Clocktown, we're actually going to go and get this chest here, which has 10 Deku Nuts in it. Now, are we going to actually use the Deku Nuts? No, we are not. But we want to have the Deku Nuts in our inventory for a glitch that we're going to do later.
We're not going to use the Deku Nuts, I guess. But just not in the way that you think.
Yeah. Specifically, we want them to be on our B button, as we see on the screen there.
And I skip a little bit of Tattle dialogue by, like, shimmying around the corner there, where Tattle tells us to, like, start Z targeting, or L targeting, I guess that it is in this game. Although you can, I believe, use ZL and ZR, which are buttons specific to new 3DS consoles, to also target if you need to in a pinch.
So, Jim, like, I'm actually curious, what's your history with this game? Like, how did you end up picking it up?
Well, so by the time that this game came out, I had already been speedrunning 3D Zeldas for a couple of years. And I had also run OOT 3D for a bit before this game came out, so it was kind of a no-brainer to also just begin speedrunning this game.
Yeah. Did you run the original Majora's Mask prior to this, or have you only ever run the 3DS version?
I had done a few runs of the original Majora's Mask, but not a whole lot. I'm generally not the biggest fan of speedrunning the original N64 games, just because of the amount of input delay that they have.
Yeah.
And like compared to, you know, modern games, their controls don't hold up particularly well, but that's just my opinion. I do think that the controls were much improved in the 3DS versions, which is why I prefer to speedrun those.
I definitely agree. I think there's a lot of great improvements to the 3DS versions that are very subtle, but like control and general feel of the whole game is really a big one for me. Mm-hmm. Also, I love the updated Deku art in this game. His model very closely resembles his original artwork, whereas like his eyes are very shadowed over by his hair. And so just like little touches like that, they really went all out in like recreating this game visually from the ground up, but still like maintaining its integrity.
You know, I love the way the 3DS version looks. It is such a glow up. Like, they absolutely understood the assignment. Like, the original game when it came out, like, still looked quite good, but it really pops here for sure.
I think one of my favorite features of this game is that the color purple just looks fantastic, and every time it's on screen, I don't know what it is, but they picked excellent shades of purple everywhere.
So, we're in the first cycle here. What's your goals in this category? So, like, let's talk a little bit about this category, because we just had all dungeons restricted for the N64 version. What is this category about?
In some ways, you could consider this category all dungeons for MM3D, in that no wrong warp means that, you know, like, the only way to really get to the moon, if you're not going to collect all the masks, is to wrong warp to it. Because otherwise, Morph stated in his last run, like, Oath to Order is necessary to, like, actually, like, get any of that working. So, without wrong warp, meaning we need to collect all the masks, meaning without, you know, we need to go straight to every boss in the game. And technically, old Any%, before there was a warp to the moon, did actually do wrong warps between dungeons from, correct me if I'm wrong, Jim, it's like Goat and Georg both had wrong warps available.
Yeah, that was correct. It would wrong warp into those boss rooms and effectively just completely skip those dungeons.
Wrong warps in a Grezzo Zelda game? It's more likely than you think. Echoes of wisdom.
It really is, yeah. Grezzo seems to love adding wrong warps to their remakes and their original games.
We need to find Luigi's Mansion 3DS wrong warp. That's the only one that doesn't have one. That's coincidentally, I just realized that I run 3 Grezzo games because it's both of the Zelda 64s and Luigi. So they've I guess they've got my number. So anyway, no wrong warp. So like I said, no warping to the moon. We need to collect all the boss remains. And in order to get to the bosses, we're going to be doing a bit of setup after we get out of first cycle that involves collecting a couple items that are going to help us break the game. So the general structure of the run after we get out of Clocktown is to be get the items that break the game and let us finish it, and then let's go finish it. And we still have some things we got to do in Clocktown here. There's our good friend, the Clocktown Stray Fairy, who's just chilling. Oh no, that's why would you move out of the way? That's that has not happened before.
Getting juked.
I swear that has never happened to me before. But it's okay. We're fine. We have plenty.
Turn on the 3D for the depth perception.
Yep. If you turn on the 3D, what you guys will see because of the effect of the 3DS capture card is that the image will shift slightly to the right. And that's about it.
The Stray Fairies are unique to the 3DS version, is that right? Or am I completely hallucinating that?
No. So Stray Fairies are in all versions.
Okay.
They did swap around some Stray Fairies in 3DS, so the ones in Woodfall and the ones in Snowhead were both swapped in terms of like the color of the Stray Fairies in 3DS.
Okay.
Gotta avoid talking to the bank lady here. Looks like we're about, I don't know, 17 in-game seconds-ish behind because of the little thing, so we should be all right on our goal, because the thing is that we have very limited time to make our stated goals here.
It's a very good question. Is the 3D function ever practically useful in a speedrun?
Not that I've ever seen in my history of running 3DS games.
Yeah, I've never experienced it being practical for either of the Zeldas.
One time in Lego Lord of the Rings for Nintendo 3DS, which is in fact a game that I speedran, I was trying to find glitches and I jacked up the 3D and it dropped the frame rate to like single digits, and yet I could not clip through a single wall. So I was pretty upset about that. I was like, come on, like the frame rate is barely functioning. What do you mean we still have walls?
What do you mean collisions still exist in this frame rate?
I was upset. I was upset. Alright, I want to avoid talking to Tingle here, so I'm going to take a bit of a wider route because he actually traps you for a longer conversation and he does his little noise.
What, no Kulu Limpa for you?
No, unfortunately, it's a little bit long for my taste. Alright, so we need to talk to this great fairy for a very good reason, and that reason is magic. We desperately will need magic throughout this run. They have made magic more important in 3DS, particularly with the Zora transformation. Magic is very necessary for Zora to get around in some cases and to attack enemies while swimming with his barrier attack. And magic also gave us access to bubbles. We can shoot bubbles, which are actually important, believe it or not. At least once, but it counts.
Yeah, that is how we get the ocarina back.
But now I'm shifting into focus mode because there is a difficult trick ahead of us.
Yeah, so Brandino's going to be performing what's known as Clocktown Escape here, using a trick called a Deku Flower Slide. And if you watched the previous Majora's Mask run that they just did, if you remember the Super Slide tech that was done in that game, this is pretty similar to that, except we also have the added benefit of we don't have any collision while we do it.
That's okay, we can do that one more time.
I'm not the only one who sorts games by folder or by franchise.
Yeah. Also, peep the Phantom Hourglass theme. We get to hear the Great Sea every time we home buffer in this run. So I got a little bit of lag coming in from that last home buffer, and so I kind of missed my chance, but that's okay. We still have some more time in-game to make it. We're cutting it a little close, but we'll make it, I swear. We're halfway there. Okay, so first, we've got the bomb. And now we need to set up our angle. Oh, that's not going to work. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and reload the save because I don't have enough in-game time to make that work. I had the angle and then I let go of the R button. It's okay, that happens. That trick is really nerve-wracking because you go through like 15 minutes of gameplay And then it's like, do this trick to get out of Clocktown, and by the way, you have very limited in-game time to make it work before things start to go wrong. So it was a lot of pressure to make that go right. So we're gonna go.
I saw that there's a software update. Was that a 3DS software update or like the game software update? Like, is this a down-patched version?
This is down-patched as in we never downloaded the patch to begin with. So yes, this game was patched once very shortly after release to patch a glitch that we're going to be actually using in the speedrun, which is ESS bottle duping. Now, if you ask me, I don't think a casual player is going to accidentally ESS bottle dupe, but, you know, maybe I'm wrong. But maybe it needed patched, I don't know. Maybe it was important.
Rezo had a different opinion.
There's one major patch that I can think of. I think there's probably some other stuff in there, but I think that's like the most noteworthy thing about that patch as it applies to our speedrun. We definitely want to run on 1.0. Now, this can be difficult in later years because physical copies of the game were eventually shipped patched, making them impossible to downpatch because it's installed to the cartridge. So, it can be, I feel like that's going to be somewhat of a barrier, like, in the future to be able to finding good speedrun copies of the game is that, like, you got to know if you have 1.0 or not. I believe because it's shipped so shortly after release that, like, eventually the 1.1 copy became the more common version.
Yeah, interestingly, unlike the current Switch patching situation, the 3DS does just allow you to delete patches if you want to. So thankfully, the digital version of the game is very easy to get down to 1.0.
Shoutouts to Echoes of Wisdom again.
Okay, I like this angle. This angle's really good.
This angle's looking good.
We gotta really buffer this bomb here. I get a little nervous, so I ended up over buffering the bomb most times. But there's a very specific range of frames that works, which you'll know about if we ever get there past the buffers.
Yeah.
Okay, one more frame. All right, this'll work, I believe. Boing.
Yeah.
Oh, let's go.
Oh, yeah.
My last time I did this on Hotfix, we unfortunately had to load a save past that trick because I failed it twice. Because one time the game crashed, then I failed it when I actually went to go try it. So that's revenge. We did it this time.
And by the way, the game can crash if you home buffer incorrectly.
Oh yeah. By the way, we're gonna be home buffering a lot. No biggie.
It doesn't happen too often, but there's always that small chance because good video game, I guess. I don't know.
It's it's kind of a blessing and a curse. We have such good home buffers. We can frame perfectly pause the game with them whenever we need to, but in the exact same breath, those home buffers can crash the game. There's some kind of beautiful poetic moment in there that I'm not capable of describing. The thing that you love will eventually destroy you? I don't know. All right, so interesting thing, because we're a little bit behind in IGT, all because I missed that Clocktown Great Fairy way back when. Oh, wait, can we make it? I don't know. It's going to be a photo finish.
It's going to be close, yeah.
No, we were an inch from the loading zone. So, ideally, that's okay. I think it only loses about 30 seconds or so in movement to run back to Clocktown from here. And luckily, that does not load. Okay, so sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. There's a couple things going on when we clip out of Clocktown. Number one, you'll notice that we run right past the big tree into Southern Swamp without triggering the cutscene that's normally there. Because of that, because we never actually trigger that cutscene, if we ever so happen to load the midnight cutscene while we're in the field, it loads all the actors in the field, including the trigger for that cutscene, meaning we have to watch it. And it's a really long cutscene where Tattle remembers their friendship with the Skull Kid. It's absurd. So you don't want to watch that cutscene. So you want to get the Southern Swamp. You want to at least get past that tree by midnight and into the first loading zone. But you also want to make it all the way here So here we are learning Song of Soaring and activating an owl statue. Two things that you don't normally do in first cycle on the other version. Now we can fly past this that loading zone. We'll never have to go near it again. We can come straight to it, and we have Song of Soaring available to us before we even really get started with the game, which is all really awesome. But I really wanted to get the Southern Swamp before the Midnight cutscene triggered, because if I did, then what would happen is I'd be able to kill Deku Link and he would respawn in Clocktown, because the cutscene for Midnight like resets your positioning and lets you warp straight back to Clocktown. Because we got the cutscene one loading zone before where we were, it didn't work out, but that's okay. At least we made it.
Yeah, we can always just spin our way back to Clocktown.
And there's always a good little backwalk too, so backwalking in this game, it's, you know, much like the other version, it's one of your fastest forms of movement if it's available. It's a little bit harder in this game because you do not have the ability to hold back on a notch. So I'm holding, you know, on the 3DS circle pad, which, bless its heart, it's not the best controller to hold a consistent forward, upward, downward, you know, angle on.
Any angle, really.
It's not the easiest controller to hold an angle for a consistently long period of time either. Your thumb will slip off at some point, it feels like. Sometimes I feel like I'm holding on for dear life.
We've got to get you a GameCube controller adapter for your 3DS, I swear.
I would love that someday, but unfortunately I'd never be able to use it on my speedrun, so I feel like I wouldn't use it that much. Because inevitably, you know, I am playing on the console, so I'm all about original hardware where possible, whether or not it makes a whole lot of financial sense. Because 3DS capture cards are not the cheapest thing in the world.
No, they are not. Is there gyro in this version on the 3DS? Yes. It is utilized for aiming things like the bow and the bubble blasts.
Gyro is actually... I keep it on during the speedrun. It's great for aiming the bow. It's fantastic for... We're going to be using the bow a lot in the Odolwa fight.
Yep.
That's a good... Or most of the boss fights, to be honest. And most of them, like, I'm going to be, like, moving all around with the console because it's just easier.
You know, the hero's bow, the hook shot, the bubble blast, like, all good reasons to use the gyro. It's a lot more precise. Allows for more control. That being said, of course you like the gyro, Brandino. You speedrun Sonic Lost World 3DS.
That is gyro. I went to go split, like my splits were open. I'm so used to splitting when I pick up the Ocarina of Time. Like, that's the ultimate, like, okay, first cycle is over.
For free.
Almost out of the woods. Yeah, this game, like... The long intro can sometimes be a bit of a challenge because once you get past it, you really want to make runs count, and that means they can be frustrating when it's like, oh, like I'm past first cycle. No, what do you mean I have to reset?
I have a very important question for you, Brandino, that came in earlier during the N64 run. How expensive are CDI games these days?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, wait. I can answer that question. First, I'll answer that question with a visual aid, which is I have Wand of Gamelon and the Faces of Evil sitting behind me here, and those were over. I don't even want to say. They were money. They cost money. They're not too cheap.
I mean, to get complete in box copies, absolutely.
Yes. Don't be like me, is what I'm saying.
Are you going to speedrun the CDI game?
I have almost finished learning Wand of Gamelon. The ending is actually quite hard though, because you have to tackle the final palace without being able to see invisible enemies, because we skipped the item that would make them visible. So you have to like learn their positions everywhere they are. And it's quite difficult. I haven't gotten Faces of Evil yet because I've been focusing. I don't know. Something about Wand of Gamelon is just infinitely more interesting. Like, you get to play as Zelda. Like, that's cool. And I feel like people on speedrun.com agree with me because Wand of Gamelon has like more runs than Link Faces of Evil, which is, I guess, just like an interesting divide. Yeah. And even just revisiting a game like Echoes of Wisdom made me think like, oh yeah, like we haven't seen a lot of games you get to play as Zelda that are in this series, huh? Phantom Hourglass kind of counts. You know, you get the she's like a spirit that like inhabits the phantoms.
I remember you, like, because you occasionally send me pictures of, like, things you've picked up, and you just sent me, like, the most ridiculous CDI controller.
Yes,
and everything.
the spoon. We have that right here.
The spoon.
You can use this to run the game RZ, which is a CDI, like, it's a spoon, guys.
Oh, wow, that really is a spoon.
That's a really cool run. If you like the Zelda CDI games, it's an homage to that. That came out, I think, like, last year. Definitely check that out.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. You know, I have to say that the CDI games really are not bad because I have gotten the chance to actually play them casually now. I can see the vision, and I'm not gonna lie, I have like a good belly laugh every time I watch the cutscenes because there's a million YouTube videos that are just soaring through my mind when I watch them. I've seen way too many edits of the king saying dinner.
God.
Also,
I don't know what Ganon's up to.
I just wonder what Ganon's up to. I do wonder what Ganon's up to, because he's not in this game.
He's not in this game at all.
No, he's not.
I mean, clearly he's just lying in wait for the Oracle's true ending. You know, no big deal.
Yeah, his attendance has fallen off.
Because we also pick up Song of Soaring. I can't say it. Song of Soaring. Because we pick that up, and then we also get Song of Time, and then we also get Song of Healing. We learn like 3 songs in a very like a 5-minute span in this run. I love the Happy Mask Salesman's face peeking through the mouth of the Deku.
Song of item storage, got it.
Yeah, it sounded like brain couldn't decide if it wanted to say Song of Storms or Song of Soaring.
I feel like that's what probably was happening, but I feel like the word storage is like not too far from my brain because it's like speedrun. Oh, yeah, I gotta mash text here. I recently learned, actually, after the last time that I did this run, that you can mash this text here, and it's slightly faster.
Oh my god, there's... I speedrun a game called Ricky and Vicky with fellow showrunner Atitri, and apparently I was the only one out of the two of us who knew that you could mash through the cutscenes in that game and mash through all the text in that game.
Free time save for the other runner.
And I was just sitting there mashing every run that we did, and Tree was like, "What do you mean we can mash?" And I'm like, "What do you mean you didn't mash?" Because you can mash through the intro where it berates you for skipping the intro, but you can mash through every instance where there's a cutscene between worlds, and like apparently they did not realize that that was a thing.
A cutscene between worlds. I love that game.
Or cat. Damn it. I walked into that unintentionally.
Also, we got the Bomber's Notebook now. We're giving it to the Mask Salesman gives it to us here, and we also get the code because way back there we skipped the Moon's Tier by doing a backflip up to the ledge. So the game just gives us the code now because obviously we did that.
We definitely did that.
And we're almost done with the text mashing. My thumbs hate this part.
Yeah, mashing on a 3DS is not comfortable.
No, it is not. And I can confirm this. There's several experiences now. I have enough data to make a sample group. Out, bonk.
His thumb was so tired, he bonked immediately.
Exactly. So we need to pray for some good luck here because we're heading out in the Hyrule field, and in order to go further, we need bombs. There's a couple bushes around us, so let's hope it's the first one.
Yeah, it does kind of suck that it's like, oh yay, we're done with first cycle. All right, well now it's time for RNG. Hope the run can continue.
Yeah, it's like cold hard reality hitting.
Because yeah, I mean, obviously there's a lot of grass that we can cut, but when you're doing attempts of this, it's like, well, if you don't get it within one of the first 2 patches of grass, you're losing quite a bit of time since we want to go up to the mountain village next.
Yep, and That looks like we're gonna have to do some. We're gonna have to dive into this hole real quick. So it's gonna be faster than running around the more bushels than to just quickly load and reload the area by jumping down here. You can see the pretty graphics that have remastered this tunnel, and then they're gone. Okay, for sure this time. I've had such a bad streak of RNG lately. Oh, hey, yay!
There we go. All right, now we're good.
All right, now we got some good old-fashioned backwalking to make it to our next destination. But there's a really cool skip we're going to be using to get into the area of Snowhead without the bow and arrow. And if you could believe it or not, this trick is so simple. I was doing this before I did the speedruns of the game just because it's like that easy to learn. So you walk up to this seam right here, like this one, and then just side hop when you're about right there. And then just roll up the wall. It's that easy. Like, try that at home, please. It is really easy. We just did a live tutorial.
Thanks, Weird Geometry.
I'm not set up, and then okay, he's just standing still for some reason. That's great. I wanted to try to do a recoil flip to get some speed off that guy, but I kind of lost my backwards angle, which can happen. So it's okay.
There's a quick question asking how can you participate in Passion Project. If you want to submit a run to the show, if you go to gamesdonequick.com/hotfix, at the top of the screen, you'll find the how section pretty quickly. There's a link there for our submission form. Submit and select Passion Project as the show that you would like to be on, and I will receive your submission, and it will be considered for the show. And also, we have PAX East coming up next month, May 8th through the 11th. That is an in-person speedrun stage at the PAX East at Boston Convention Exposition Center. If you are going to PAX East, I'll be there. I'll be at the speedrun stage that GDQ is going to be running there. And you should come check us out. And I would love to meet folks who watch the show or watch Hotfix in general and talk about stuff. And yeah. It'd be really cool to see all May 8th, 11th in Boston. That's my old hometown, too.
There we go. That was a recoil flip. I missed that on a couple other tech tights. But that's a cool little strat you can do by like letting go of the stick as he collides with an object midair. He just gets forced backwards.
Yeah, that's also a technique that's in the original game. I'd say it's more versatile in the original game because you can actually do it with explosives like bombs and bomb shoes, which basically allows you to do a recoil flip anywhere. But I guess Grezzo decided that was too much fun because they specifically patched recoil flips with explosives, but not with enemies or getting hit by other things. So,
but explosives will launch you twice as far in this game, as evidenced by that bomb jump. Which is, I think, a feature more than likely of the FPS upgrade than anything. And we're just running on the sky.
Yeah, so normally the way you get in here is you have to talk to the owl, and he will reveal to you where these platforms are via dropping feathers on them. But if you just know where they are already, you can just jump across and make it to the cave where the Lens of Truth is.
And first instance of Song of Soaring here, in order to get to the owl statues that we've been opening up across the map. Unfortunately, there's no index warping in this game like you might see in MM, so we're primarily just going to be warping to the owl statues that we're supposed to be warping to. Of course, this is no wrong warp, so we're going to be doing that anyway.
I guess if index warp did exist in this game, would it be allowed in no wrong warp?
Probably not, because I guess that is a wrong warp.
Yeah, I would probably classify it as a wrong warp too.
I'm just gonna be like, not mashing, but like slowly turning on the Lens of Truth off and on so that I don't waste a lot of magic here. So if that's like might be an uncomfortable flashing effect. Just doing this on the wall, but we're almost up. So you actually don't need the Lens of Truth in order to climb up the wall. Like, you actually can memorize the positioning of the stairs, but the Lens of Truth is more important for what's inside of this cave, which is the Goron Mask. And the Goron Mask is one of our most important items in the run. We really can't do the speed run without Goron. I mean, we can, but it just wouldn't be as fun.
But also take much longer.
Yeah, I don't even want to know how we get around not having him in some places. But I guess that's what Glitchless is for. So we're gonna head to the Goron Rave here, which is what I like to call this part.
Which it'll be nice to see the Goron Mask see some use, because we did not see that in our last run.
Oh yeah, I was thinking about that. Yeah, it's kind of like another side of the coin that is the game, because now we get to do something completely different. I love their updated dancing animations in this game. They gave them so many more polygons to move with. It's beautiful. Oh, I almost went to split again. That's okay.
I love that muscle memory.
It never goes away.
It really doesn't.
All right, so we're still kind of in a setup phase here. We've got more items we need to get, but that means we got to go to Southern Swamp now, because we got a few things we need to get here, and we can finally make use of the masks that we have. They've been sitting with us the whole time. Goron is, of course, where we're going first. This is the fastest way to move. If you need to get around in the game, as far as I know. I think at least non-glitched movement.
I don't think anything is faster than Goron Mask.
Oh, nice.
Non-glitch wise.
Yeah, he's great for that.
Yeah, so we're gonna do the quest here to save the witch in the forest. Because one of the items that we want to get for this run is the Pictobox. The Pictobox will allow us to do many fun things. So first we have to find the sister, go tell the other sister that we found her sister, and then she'll give us a potion to take back to the lost sister.
And that potion will also give us a free bottle, which we're going to need for an important bottle dupe later. Which is going to actually be happening.
We'll be doing what I did, where you drink the bottle directly in front of the, ailing sister.
Yeah, the way that you have to give the red potion is, you don't just use the item while in front of her, you have to talk to her, and then you're given a prompt to select the item to give her. Which is,
no, I didn't catch on to that. I was like, you just press the item button, right?
It's all a scam by Big Potion Shop to make you buy more red potion.
I was so upset, because it's like, okay, fool me once, sure, but I did it twice. I just drank it directly in front of her. I was like, you cannot be serious right now.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did the exact same thing my first time on this also.
Yep. It's not very clear, because I feel like talking to people and then getting shown the item menu was a new mechanic in this particular game if you played OOT first. In OOT, you had to target somebody and then show them the item. So it's like, oh yeah, that's what I do, right?
Yeah, that's also how basically every other Zelda game works, with showing items to NPCs.
Mm-hmm.
Except for this game, they're like, oh, let me open the menu for you. All right, so that Deku stick is going to be important, but way later, so you can forget about it for now. Just remember that we've got a Deku stick. All right, so here's a glitch that was so powerful, it didn't make it into 1.1. So if you look at the bottom screen, now we've got two bottles where the Lens of Truth once stood. And we've got a few more items we're going to do that to. But we need to make sure that the bottle is out the whole time while we do this. Which means that we can't put it away or take out our sword or anything. And if we mess up, we have to go and recapture the fairy. But ESS is holding a position that's slightly out of dead zone. And then while I'm doing that, I quickly swipe my thumb from bottle to item. And there we go. Now we have 4 bottles. That was a lot of hard work. And now we're getting one of the most important items for the run.
Yeah, so normally when you get the Picto Box, you're forced to go on the river cruise afterwards. But if you receive the item while you're directly in front of the door, the open prompt for the door will actually prevent the cutscene for the swamp tour from starting, so then we can just leave without having to do the swamp tour, but still get the Picto Box.
And we're going to safety save here, because there's going to be some home menu use in a minute or two. And we don't want to crash our game. That would not be fun. But, so, we're heading to Great Bay now because we've got a Zora mask to get. But I went out of Southern Clock Town. What do you mean? You said we're going to Great Bay. Well, there's this thing called a flower slide that you might have seen at the beginning of the run, and it's really cool. So let me just set myself up here.
Yeah, so same technique used at the start of the run to escape Clock Town, except this time we're going to use it to enter Great Bay because, once again, it's like a super slide, except you also don't have any collision. So you can very easily just phase through walls when you're in this state.
Yeah, this is a really useful... Oops, almost overpass it, but it's fine. We'll readjust on the fly.
Yeah.
There we go. It's a little bit difficult to get used to steer. Oops, sorry, what'd you say?
I just love how ridiculous that looks, sorry.
No, it's amazing. It's such a cool trick. And it's not the last time we're gonna see it too. It has a lot of uses. But
yeah, it's also funny because you basically have to control it backwards because you don't know where you're going.
Yeah, steering can be a little bit weird when you're in control of that version. So there's something out in the water here. Oh, it's a guy. Well, we should help him to shore, I guess.
It does sound like it would be the nice thing to do.
Yeah. All right,
so in the original game, you do have to watch Mika here walk up the entire beach, but in the 3DS version, they were like, what if after he get out of the water, he just kind of teleports?
Yeah, it's funny. I've been playing 3DS for so long, I forgot that was there. And when I watched N64 runs, I'm like, what are they doing? Like, why would they? Because in N64, they'll do what's called storage with a bomb in order to skip the cutscene of Miku walking up. And I was like, I feel like that doesn't save a lot of time, but on N64, it does.
Yeah.
One in chat's saying that the Zelda brings back a lot of memories because their mother at her workplace printed out a whole guide for the game for them. They were adding a computer or an internet at home, so and N64 was my first. The N64 was my first video game console. So that's actually really cool.
Yeah,
I remember not having computer or internet access at home until I was 16. So game guides were just not a thing I had access to unless I went to school and printed out portions of it or something. I bought the strategy guide.
I remember the struggle of printing out game guides. One time I accidentally printed out a massive guide to Sonic Heroes on my parents' printer. And
oh no!
It used up all the ink, and they're like, "Did you print this out?" And I was like, "Oh my god, I did not need the entire guide to Sonic Heroes."
Oh no! Goodbye, ink.
Yep. All right, so our boy Miku has asked us to finish his mission and help rescue some eggs from some pirates. That's where he fell, unfortunately. And we're going to go continue his mission right now. We're very invested. We've got to go get those eggs.
Also, why we duped those bottles.
Exactly.
There are quite a lot of eggs.
We knew in advance that he would need our help, and we anticipated that need with the bottles. All right, so Zora swimming, minor flashing white warning, because we have to mash while we have barrier, and it looks like this. Nice jump. Okay, so a lot of the time, I've gotten a lot better at that jump. If you're like just a little bit like backwards and you do that jump, he just smacks into a wall.
Yeah, that jump is a lot harder than it looks.
Controlling Zora is very different on 3DS, to say the least. It's
the big change is that they do require you to use magic if you want to continuously swim at top speed, which is not the case in the original game. If you don't have magic, you instead just get this brief swim effect, which we just mash for over and over again.
Nice ESS. Wow, we slid right up there.
Really hope one day Nintendo will do a rework on Majora's. That's what this is.
Rework Majora's Mask 3D HD.
Yeah, when someone says that, what they mean is not on the 3DS.
I mean, fair. It would be nice to see, like, even if it were just the 3DS version, like, just, reworked for Switch or Switch 2. I can see that, but it's just like...
I do think
that's what this is, though.
It's a very interesting question, like if they are to remake these games in a modern setting, like, are we going to just leverage these versions? Are we going to make something new? I don't know. I feel like it's a genuinely difficult question to answer. If you're like trying to...
The only thing we would know for certain is that if it was made by Grezza, we would get even more rock ripping, which I would be a fan of.
Yeah. I would really like to see Zelda 2 get a remake.
Or just like another game in the same style, a la like Link Between Worlds, because I actually agree. I feel like Zelda 2 is the most unexplored of the bunch. It turns out, though, that Miyamoto, not a big fan. So I don't know if that will happen.
Yeah.
Also, so we just did a really cool trick back there to skip the sewers, and it happened so quick we floated right on by it. But with the combination of a bomb jump and a mask, what we call a mask jump, we're able to clear the gap and then grab a ledge. So what happens is the bomb just sends up over the edge, and at a very specific point in our jump, I hold home menu, I go back into the game, and when I go back into the game, I hold B and I hold a mask. Now, masks have a 2-frame activation window, whereas buttons have a 1-frame. So I kick 1 frame and then activate the mask the next, which gives me some height, just enough to grab a ledge. Anyway, another trick is happening, and I gotta focus.
Yes, this is a trick that's called PACE, P-A-C-E, or Picto Actor Collision Extension. I believe is what the acronym stands for. But basically, we're gonna use the Pictobox against this bomb and then spin into it. And because of reasons, we're then going to get pushed all the way past that cutscene trigger that's normally there.
It's such a cool trick. It happens so fast, and it's kind of as simple as it looks. We just take a picture next to the bomb and spin. You can get kind of... It can be a lot harder if you don't set up your angle correctly, so you have to watch, because you can slide straight into like a wall, which will just activate the cutscene. But yeah, I love that trick. There's another way to do that with a trick called time stop, which is we don't perform time stop the same way in this version that you would in N64. We have to use the act of picking up a bug in order to do that. So if I were to do time stop, I'd actually stop to grab a bug before coming into Great Bay. And now we've got an awkward jump, which I believe is just called awkward jump.
Yeah, they tried to prevent you from being able to do this jump by putting in these spikes here, but you could just kind of still do it.
He rolled forward instead of side hopping. That's an OOT 3D moment. Oh no! Oh my gosh, that's okay. I'm gonna get that again. It's fine. So I think my angle might have been slightly off, or maybe I just didn't hold forward at the right time. But in order to skip fighting the next pirate and doing any sort of like puzzle solving around here, we're just gonna hop down to this next ledge. There we go.
Nice.
It's such a cool trick. I love little like stuff like that. There's so much cool stuff in these Zelda games like that, where it's just like a jump set up at just the right angle and you get to do something cool like that. All right, now for the hardest trick of all, skipping this fish. Okay, we got the Zora egg. Yay! I'm joking.
Yep.
So there's a fish down there who likes to run in front of you when you're picking up the Zora egg and eat up your Zora egg inputs. Then you have to let go of the fish and then pick up the Zora egg. But if you stand in just the right spot, you can pick up the Zora egg without the fish interrupting you, but it doesn't always work. And now for the main event.
Yeah, now for the real reason we got the Pick-the-Box.
And there he goes.
What?
That trick is appropriately named Goron Missile. And
How?
we'll see it again here soon, so we can get it a bit more of a detailed explanation. But like the gist of it is that the game does not like when the Goron holds a first-person item. All right, so
Yeah.
Jim, do you want to talk about that a little bit while I set up this next one?
Yeah, so the reason that we have the Pick-the-Box is because using the Pick-the-Box, we can perform a glitch called restricted items, which normally, you know, items like the hookshot or the bow, you're not supposed to use as Goron Link, but you can with restricted items. So the Pick-the-Box allows us to pull out the hookshot with restricted items there. And then when Goron Link is holding the hookshot or the bow, weird things happen. I don't really remember the details of what the game tries to do when Goron Link is holding hookshot or bow, but if you hold hookshot or bow as Goron Link and then curl up, move forward and then pound down on the ground, you will get a huge burst of momentum forward. And if you're on an upwards slope, you'll also get an upwards boost of momentum as well. So,
I like to joke that it's the Goron spin dash because he has slope jumps too.
Oh my god. I wasn't expecting a 3D Blast reference or any classic Sonic reference in this run besides the Goron spin dashing, but here we are.
Oh yeah, it's kind of amazing. I joke that it's a Sonic game because of stuff like that, and because of ESS is like M speed. It's like, oh, we got to hold this dead zone angle and go faster, just like M speed. But anyway, so we got to dump off the eggs that we currently have because, believe it or not, we have to actually collect all 7 eggs in order to get New Wave Bossa Nova, because we have no way of duping the eggs once they are inside of the bottle, or at least not any way that I know of that's RTA viable.
yeah, there's no equip swap like the original game has because the menu is obviously reworked completely from an interface standpoint for the 3DS version.
I like how they put 7 eggs instead of, you know... Actually, no, 7 is... Never mind, we have 4 bottles. I was about to be like, wow, they're really just making sure you go out and get one more. That would be if there were 9 eggs.
Yeah, they did. Oh yeah, that's another thing. They added 1 extra bottle in the 3DS version. I forget where you get it, but you do get an extra bottle. Oh, and so worth noting, we're doing some of these Goron missiles backwards. And that's because whenever you're rolling backwards, the game just kind of approximates your backwards angle a lot better. Did that work? Yes.
Yeah, it should be fine. Yeah.
I got trolled recently, and I got like set back to like the origin of the Great Bay map because that can happen if you're like just outside of the loading zone for Pinnacle Rock. So I get worried about that now. But anyway, we do some of these facing backwards because it's way easier to hold a straightforward angle going backwards than it is forwards in a lot of cases. Just because the game kind of like clamps down the available range of backwards inputs. So that's a really useful thing about Goron missiles, and what makes some of them work, honestly, or makes some of them more consistent is going to be doing them from a more backwards angle.
Yeah, I think it was probably just something that they did for this game to make backwalking easier, that anytime you hold down anywhere within a specific range outside of down just gets interpreted as straight down instead of like straight down and like very slightly left or very slightly right.
Yep. And that can already be annoying. Like the game does detect like slightly left or slight right in your backwalking, which can then slow you down while backwalking. So it's like, even with the approximation, you can still kind of get rolled a little bit. It is nice to have, though.
Yeah, definitely makes a lot of them much more consistent compared to when we did all of them going forwards.
Yeah, there are some that like I don't know how we'd have the setup without them like facing backwards now. Like I'm just so used to a backward setup.
You would pray that you held forwards perfectly. It's basically what would happen.
Yeah, that's definitely until I used to do some going forwards that had backward setups just because like the forward setup was a little bit better for me. And now I'm like full like I don't want to do a forward setup unless you like hold a gun to my head. Like it's too much. It's way harder to hold forward. All right, we've got all
the fact that in MM3D they just let Zora Link use the ocarina underwater.
Yeah, that's
in the original game they don't allow that, so you have to use ocarina items if you want to do that.
Yeah, it's a glitch in the other game, and in this game, it's just how the game works, which is really nice. Positive change. And I'm going to save here, because one time the game crashed here for me. I don't know why, but it did. And we got spring water. We're going to be holding on to this. This is important for later. Just know that we have it right now, and know that we also have the Zora egg, so I'm actually going to swap out the spring water just so I don't accidentally use it at all. And we're going past these guys. Goron Missile is surprisingly easy to perform once you know the inputs, because when we're accepting the picture, like basically during the picture, I'm swiping my thumb from the accepting, from the accept picture, then I go to the hookshot button, and then like hookshot button to A in like one swift motion. And just like that, I have the hookshot, and you can start doing the pounds. It's really all about pounding in the right way so that he goes where you want him to go. Setting it up is very simple. All right, these Deku guards don't do their job. They let a Goron right past them. Oh, wow, good Palace Guard RNG. This never happens.
Oh, yo, let's go. Oh, wow.
I spoke too soon. Okay, so these platforms, nice change in this version is that they don't move. Oh, I feel like my angle's a little bit weird. Okay, he made it. Oh my, what? Okay, that's a little funky. It's okay.
That's a certified Majora's Mask camera moment right there.
I thought I was holding the right angle and I wasn't. There we go. Oh, okay. What? Okay, sorry, bit silly. It's fine. Let me just make sure he moves over. Normally I don't have to set that up. There we go. Yeah, these platforms don't move, which means that they're always waiting for us, thankfully. We don't have to do any, like, complicated movement to hurry up and make a cycle. And the game still snaps them up to ledges that are much higher than him for whatever reason, so we can use that to save some time. Whoop, we're behind the monkey. So I don't think there's like no way to enter Woodfall without Sonata, right? Like I don't feel like it's even there.
I don't think so. No, yeah.
So we actually
might be. I mean, you might be able to get in there with like SRM wrong warping, but obviously that's if you're doing a category with SRM wrong warping, you're probably not going to use it to enter Woodfall.
Exactly, like you're going to use it to get to the moon. It's really interesting. We do need two of the songs. Whoops. We do need two of the songs to open dungeons because otherwise those dungeons just straight up kind of don't exist like in the world of the game until you've actually played the song. And that's Woodfall and Great Bay. So that's why we have the Zora eggs on us for New Wave Bossa Nova later. But we're going to be holding on to these Zora eggs for quite a while. And something you should know is that, again, these are duped over bottles. And so what that means is that, like, if we've duped a bottle over Deku Nuts, when we had 0 Deku Nuts, that's fine. We have a bottle. But the game still knows that it's Deku Nuts, kind of. So if you collect a Deku Nut, it'll overwrite the bottle again, and you'll just have Deku Nuts where the bottle was. And so that'll actually delete the egg, making the run unwinnable. So we cannot collect Deku Nuts for the rest of the run. It's really not a problem, except for this next area we're going to. Now, if you guys like Goron Missile, the hits are not going to stop. They're going to keep coming. Because Goron Missile is now like the primary way that we're going to be getting around for just about everywhere. And that includes from fairy fountains. Something you might remember from Morph's Run is that all these fairy fountains exist on the same map, and you can easily move between them to exit out one from the other. And, Goron Missile makes that an even easier way to move between them. Because now we have a de facto way to shoot through the wall. So I'm just going to go ahead and now we're over in the Woodfall Fairy. It's just that easy.
I can't believe that persists between the versions. That's actually great.
I know, it's amazing. And I think the grottos are the same vibe. They're just all the same map. So this one is a little bit hard here. So let's see if we can get it. You got to have just the right amount of speed. Oh, nice. Right in the center.
Right on the platform.
Shout out to Iwabi, who is one of the best runners of this game, and world record holder in this category, and I believe all categories at this moment. He had a perfect setup to get to that platform. That is harder than it looks because you need to have just enough speed. So if you have too much speed, he shoots past the platform and lands on some ground behind him, which slows you down a lot. And if you don't have enough speed, you just kind of bump into the platform and fall into the poison, and you got to try again. So that is not an easy trick. Oh, and okay, there's a very... Oh! That has happened to me a lot recently. That's okay. We're just going to go ahead and put on Deku Mask and get in the normal way. Just so that we don't bump on that again. You need to cancel Goron Missile, like, as soon as you make it to the island over here in order to be able to enter. But I was just, like, a tad bit too slow in the draw, but that's okay. You'll see a little bit more of that kind of Goron Missile here, where it's like we have to cancel the Goron Missile very shortly after opening it, or after pounding on the ground, in order to, like, land without, like, bouncing off the wall. Like that. Yeah, anytime you see, like, him going in the first person, know that shenanigans are, like, about to follow.
Yeah, so naturally when you can just shoot forward and upward however much you want, the dungeon, we can skip most of the dungeon here. Basically just made our way directly to the mini-boss room, who could only take 2 punches before passing out, so...
Yep, the Goron...
Not a particularly challenging one.
The game was not really expecting you to have the Goron this early in the game, so they're not really, like, balancing some of these fights for his punches. Alright, so we're gonna do what I consider to be one of the hardest tricks in this run, and that's going straight to the boss of Woodfall from this room. And that's gonna, of course, involve our favorite trick, Goron Missile, at a very specific angle and speed. So give me 1 second to let's set this up. Here we go. Wow, okay. That's sure? Okay, let's try that again. This is a hard trick because it's just like, it's a bit of a finicky setup, and there's a couple different ways you can fail it, and some lose more time than others.
Yeah, so here we're using the slope of the flower right here.
First try.
As our way of being able to get up and into the air and out of bounds. And that was very good. Nice job, Randy.
I have grinded this trick into dust because it killed so many runs. So eventually you just have to get better, right? You'd hope. So, Odolwa, completely different fight here, but I actually quite like this version of the fight. There's a lot of skill involved, and you have to be reactive to his RNG. We need to hit him.
Making very nice use of the gyro here to shoot him while he's in the air.
I thought I could sneak in 2 hits there. It's okay. So, yeah, it takes 5 hits with the arrow before he'll reveal his weak spot. All of the bosses were given a massive eye as some sort of weak spot that pops out at different points in the fight. You'll notice that's like the big changes from N64. And Odolwa is no different. 5 hits with the arrow to open up the eye, and then 5 hits once the eye is open that you can deliver either via arrow or with sword. He is very RNG. So where he jumps around in the room is, you kind of just have to be able to react. And we didn't have to refill arrows or anything, so that was a pretty good fight, all things considered.
Yeah, overall, very solid Woodfall.
Yeah, very happy with that Woodfall. Woodfall, to me, is like the scariest part of the run. There's just a lot of strats that are very punishing or could go very wrong. So getting out of Woodfall, to me, is when an attempt goes from, like, can it make it, to, all right, I'm serious now.
I'd say for me, I think Stone Tower is probably the one that
that too, I guess.
About in runs.
Twin mold. I always, to be honest, I just sometimes forget that the threat that twin mold can pose.
Yeah.
Also, just some of the Goron missiles in Stone Tower, like if they decide they don't want to work for you. All right, so here's our good friend Oath to Order. Another necessary song in order to make it to the moon.
What we'll use to call our friends.
Yep, our friends happen to be massive giants who do not skip leg day. It's, don't we all have friends like that?
Yeah, personally, I can think of exactly 4 people I know who are massive giants that don't skip leg day.
Exactly 4? Exactly. If you need to call them, do you have a song, like a song that you can do that with?
I might have, not a song, but, a couple of phone numbers.
All right.
I mean, like, I know TGH is 6'2", but I can't say that he embraces leg day.
He trains what's most important, the thumbs.
It's true.
True gamer at heart. Shout out to TGH, one of the handheld Zelda runners of all time, is super good at Link's Awakening and Oracle games, and Minish Cap too.
Yeah, he's on Minish Cap right now.
He's if TGH is coming to your game, that means that he's ready to lower some time off of it. He's quite the gamer.
He'll be running, speaking of PAX East, he'll be running Minish Cap at PAX East.
I have to say, I love Minish Cap, by the way. What a charming game. I just, they really went crazy with that, the Wind Waker art style during that period. And I just, those games they're like a warm hug to me. I just love them. That and like
Minish
Phantom
Cap's
Hourglass.
Minish Cap's art style, its pixel art is just, it's, like you said, it's a warm hug. It's timeless.
Yeah, and I love the scratchy sound effects, coming out the GBA audio. Something about that is so nostalgic. Oh, I remember playing this game growing up.
So many people hate the GBA audio, and there is bad GBA audio out there, but the games that knew how to utilize it, I like Vadi's theme a lot, for example. The final fight with Vadi, has such good music.
The one that gets stuck in my head all day is Hyrule Castletown.
Oh yeah, that too.
All right, so Goron missile on a slope. Watch what happens.
Whee!
Holy crap!
He gains speed relative to the steepness of the slope. He is spin dashing. This is a Sonic game. Okay, so this particular missile is kind of nuts because we're gonna hang on. Yeah, okay, I thought my angle looked a bit weird. So let's let him uncurl. We can try again. So we're gonna go from Woodfall to Akana in one Goron missile. So what happened there is I don't think I went backwards enough here, and we're gonna have to do it with the screen slightly going smaller because it's turning into the second day. That's always fun. There it is. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you see him waddling super fast in the distance?
The fast waddle gets me.
Let's get in here, please. Okay, so we're going to get hit by the dawn of the second day. You can tell because our aspect ratio has shrunken by several degrees. So we're gonna just go ahead and let the time pass real quick. Let's equip the hook shot and take off the mask. But we're gonna go ahead and let this tick down just real fast so that I'm not interrupted mid-jump. That has happened before. All right.
Hey, I wonder how we're going to climb up to Stone Tower Temple.
Took the words right out of my mouth. How are we going to climb out of, it's really high up, right? Goron Missile only goes forward. If only there was
we do have the hook shot. That's the way you can get up.
We did get up a little bit, but not as much as we wanted to. But there's this like really steep slope here. I just need to take a quick picture.
That's a good picture. I like that one.
Oh my god.
Oh, he just barely missed the ledge. That's okay. Also, no fall damage if you fall in rock form, which is nice. Okay, let's do that again. Oh, let me roll. You have to if you fail a Goron missile and you need to set it up again, you have to. Okay, we're gonna go up a little bit higher this time because I had too much tilt on the stick. I was overcompensating because we failed the last one, so we're gonna take a second to fall. But that is Stone Tower beneath us. We've risen all the way up.
Something Goron space program.
Yeah.
I was about to say the same thing. I was like, this is basically Zelda Frontiers. And actually, space program has been found in Sonic Dream Team.
Oh no!
Yeah, it's not as useful in a full game run as you'd think, but for ILs, it's going to be absurd, I think.
Gonna go ahead and safety save because there is a portion of this dungeon that will require a home buffer. Got a little bit bullied.
Goron Link is a little thirsty right now.
Oh yeah, he is. You're right. He is.
Yeah, I think we need to give him some water.
Yeah, if anybody else has water, please drink up with Goron Link. He's got a... So anyway, this isn't actually water. It's a light arrow. See? I told you.
I'm sorry, what?
Would you believe that carries over from N64, where it is also possible?
Sadly, yes.
I remember when that was found. That was really funny.
It's just like so silly. Like, who would think to drop spring water right there? Bit of a tricky jump here. Nice. I hate this.
Yeah.
I hate this particular jump. You could bonk against that wall a lot.
But yeah, so the specific trick there with the spring water also only works because the sunblock there is we're on a step that's slightly above the bottom of the sunblock, because the spring water has to specifically hit the side of the block for it to melt like that. Which is why that trick works right there, and it doesn't normally work if you just drop water at the base of a sunblock.
That is the chosen sunblock. That one it's allowed to work there for some reason.
I mean, it's convenient too, because the other way of getting around this dungeon before that trick was found was really annoying. So glad that we have it.
Oh god, this is another trick that's like I failed that a little bit recently. I was worried about not making it, so when he like immediately went through the wall, I was like, oh, okay, I guess I had nothing to worry about. All right, so it's our good old friend, the flower slide. He's back. And this time, we're going to use him to skip Deku Link movement in this room. Normally, you're supposed to fly around with a bunch of flowers here, like in like rotating air currents and stuff. But what if I told you we could just slide under the wall? It's going to need a few more frames, and that'll be a reality. One more frame, please. Thank you.
Yep, also gotta just be careful there to not accidentally touch the fire as Deku Link, since that will void him out.
Yep, and that just will reset the whole room. And here's our good friend, the Garo Master. Small fun fact about MM3D is that they redesigned the Garo mask to actually match his head instead of like a typical Garo, which makes sense when you consider that they think that you're their master whenever you meet them in game, which wouldn't make sense if you're wearing like just a hood like the rest of them.
I love how ridiculous so many of the tricks on Majora's Mask and the 3DS version as well are.
Yep. You've got Goron faster than a speeding bullet. Oh, open the chest. Thank you. All right, so we've got light arrows here. They're the only like elemental arrow we need, and they're going to be important at several points in this run. We're gonna Song of Soaring back to the and so Song of Soaring when played in dungeons will actually take you back to the beginning of the dungeon. So we're gonna go ahead and do that there.
And for flipping the dungeon upside down, it's convenient for us that they actually changed where the trigger for this is. It's not being blocked by one of the platforms that you normally have to move with Elegy anymore. It's just right here.
Yeah.
So we don't have to do any weird shenanigans to shoot a light arrow like through the ground or out of bounds or anything.
No, yeah, it's that is another, like, I will absolutely take that kind of change. Like, I very welcome. So now everything's upside down, and we won't spend a lot of time in this dungeon before we get to the boss.
Yeah, there's some juicy upward slopes in this room.
There sure are, and there are just walls that can stop no Goron.
You got Goron Link just rubbing his hands together and like licking his lips.
Literally, dude, whenever Goron Link sees a slope.
Baby.
Yeah, it is possible to just do a boss key skip directly from that first room, but it is much easier to do it in this room, which is why Brandino's doing it from here.
I actually didn't know that you could do it in that room. So yeah, we're gonna be doing it here. It's a two-parter kind of Goron missile, because first we need to get over here, and then we want to set up like right about here, get as close to the ledge as we can, and then we need to go into here, set this up, and now we're in the boss room.
Oh my god!
Just like that. All right, now this fight, I would say, it's probably like the most different from its N64 counterpart. Just
yeah, definitely.
So many changes to go from. So first is that we need to beat each worm individually, and it always starts with the blue worm. I need to pick up more arrows before I start shooting real quick, but you can see they've added their favorite thing, which are eyes. Zelda boss designers looking at the eyes on the table. All right, so gotta watch for red guy here. He's gonna come out the ground and start shooting.
So anyways, it started blasting.
That's exactly what red guy is all about.
Yeah.
All right, so blue guy's gonna go underground. Now we just need to worry about red guy for a little bit. Red guy does 2 damage if he hits us, and you'll notice that we have a whopping 4 hearts. So 2 damage is a lot. So I'm
Very
keeping
similar parallel to the N64 run, where they only ran with 4 hearts.
Yep. So, okay, we're gonna let him swipe at us one more time while blue takes his sweet time getting out of the ground. So, neat little feature is that although it will not damage him, a light arrow will send red guy back into the ground, so that we don't have to worry about him here. And yes, I am looking up in real life to shoot arrows in the game.
And thankfully, the ammo pots during this fight just regenerate, so we can just spam arrows all we want.
All right,
so
good
nice job not allowing him turn around there again.
Yep, I had to be very quick with that. He was ready to move. All right, so here's where the fight, like, okay, the first part's changed, but I feel like you can see where it's coming from. Here's where the fight completely changes. So there's a treasure chest in this room now that was not previously there. And before we do that, I'm going to switch it to the morning of the 3rd day. This will skip having to watch the cutscene for the morning, and we need it to be morning when we enter the next area after this area. And yeah, no, now there's a chest in the middle of the boss. What could this contain? Oh, it's the Giant's Mask. Well, so, them moving the Giant's Mask to this boss room has lost me a lot of time in real life, because on multiple casual playthroughs of this game, I forgot they had moved the Giant's Mask, and I scoured this dungeon for what felt like hours until I realized, oh, I looked it up online. It's not, it's literally in the boss room. Just finish the dungeon. All right. So, yes, this is... Ow.
Oh.
Got bullied.
It's aggressive.
Well, luckily we were able to throw it right back at him.
Yeah, so this is the red twin mold phase, where we get to do some sort of wrestling.
We get to do some Bowser throws here.
Yeah, and we get to do some Bowser throws. If you don't spin the control stick while that animation plays, this actually becomes a 4-cycle fight, but if you spin the control stick while it happens, it becomes a 3-cycle fight.
And you have 2 options. You can either pick up his tail and spin him, or you can run up and start choking him.
Yeah.
The choking is slower, so we do not do it. But it is funny that Link... Oh! Thank God we did not lose our boulder. That's the more important thing here. These boulders...
Nice boulder.
It is a nice boulder, and these boulders are nice for 2 reasons, because they will instantly send him to the ground to be picked up and thrown. If you do not have a boulder, you need to punch him like 7 or 8 times to get him to fall into the ground. And we still have 1 more phase of this fight left, so we do in fact have to punch him for the next phase. Punching is kind of difficult because you're very much at the mercy of his movement, and sometimes he's really nice, and sometimes he's really not.
Yeah, sometimes he will come out of the ground in sort of a spiral motion, like that, which means that you actually have slightly less time to get all of your punches in compared to if he comes up sort of more like casually at the edge of the arena.
Oh! He almost hit us and then we hit him. Oh my gosh. Skill. That was skill. All skill. Definitely not luck. And so long, Gay Twin Mold.
I was waiting for one of us to make the joke.
It's too enticing. I have to do it every time.
I like how Link's stride walk cycle just changes to 5, 4, 5.
And so yeah, you'll notice he punches with his fists, and if you hold him, he'll do like a slam punch on the ground that has like shockwave damage, which I don't think is what happens when you use Giant's Mask on N64. But I'm gonna be real, I don't remember. It's been far too long. Oh, guess what I almost went to go do?
Split.
Yep. All right, that is boss mask number 2. They're getting exponentially faster from here. If anything, I would say Stone Tower is the temple we end up spending the most time in.
Yeah,
definitely. Boss fight alone is very long.
Yeah, the boss fight takes up about half of it. But
unlike N64, we don't really have a way of being able to skip most of these Giants cutscenes. The only one that we might potentially get to skip is the Snowhead one.
Yeah, and that one is dependent on where Goat dies in the room, because the place where his remains end up, there's like 2 separate spots it can be in. And it's if you fail, because we use, believe it or not, Goron Missile to do the remains skip in Snowhead. So and you can fail it, and if you fail it, you'll reload the boss and have to fight him again.
Yeah, so it's a little bit of a precarious trick, but we'll see when we get there.
I actually don't go for it in this run. It's for that reason, but it is something I feel like I have to learn it now.
I feel like so many questions about how can we make this faster in Majora's Mask 3D is just simply answered with a singular Goron Missile.
I've made that joke, like literally I asked the question and I was like, hey, is there a way to do XYZ? And somebody said Goron Missile, and then I clipped that conversation and like cut out the words until it was just, hey, is there a way to? And then the person replying Goron Missile.
Yep.
We need this and that. And let's, speaking of Goron Missile, got the next one. I think this looks about right. All right, so
yeah,
this is a bit of a specific setup because we're going to Snowhead, which is 2 fairies fountains away. But that is a unit of measurement that you can use in this game. That is 2 fairy fountains away. And here's Lullaby Skip in this version. N64 version, N64 runners are jealous, but we just did it. That was Lullaby Skip. So right now we just unloaded the Goron. He's gone, and we can just walk through here. As long as we don't get hit by a snowball. That is called down A, because we activate the mask while we're grabbing onto the wall, which interrupts us grabbing onto the wall, and we interrupt the mask with a shield and then put the mask away, so the game thinks we're still on the wall after all is said and done. And so when we're on the wall, it deloads certain actors, like the guy pushing you with the wind. And we just made it on in the Snowhead. No issue.
Yep.
Now, Snowhead is going to look a lot different from N64 because we can't do fun things like clip through this block. But we still got some. We have an old friend coming to visit.
Any action swappers in chat? That's the glitch we're about to do, by the way.
So we've just
yeah. So we activated action swap there, and now, hey, we have fire arrows, sort of asterisk.
Fire arrows in name. Oh, you know what? Let me go ahead and safety save just in case we run out of bombs doing the next part of the run, because it can happen. So, now for once, Goron Missile is not the answer to our problems. I know it might be hard to believe, but now we're going to be doing something else.
Be doing a cool trick called extended hookshot to make our way up to the boss room of this dungeon.
It's a bit of a two-parter that first involves a double bomb takeout, which I'm trying to do here.
Yep. We're gonna do a glitch that allows us to walk around in first person first, which is involves a little bit of precise timing with taking out these bombs and then shielding and hitting the first person button at the right
There
time.
we go. So we're in first person, and I'm gonna take out the hook shot. Okay. I need to listen for some hook shots here. So we want about 5 or so, depending on when he hits the wall. Okay. Okay, that sounded good. I'm gonna go ahead and roll here. Take the hook shot out. And this is a feature that's going to come into play in a minute here, but we're setting an alarm. And there he goes.
Up we go.
Yeah, you want to explain?
Yeah, so basically when we go into the first person glitch right there and then begin using the hookshot over and over again, the hookshots, like the last position that the tip of the hookshot was at doesn't get reset. So every time we shoot the hookshot there, we're essentially stacking it further and further on top of itself. Until we eventually get it to the last position there that we want, which is on the loading zone for the goat boss room. Also, Brandon is doing action swap here again just to melt the goat ice.
But this time we're doing action swap off of the tattle text.
Yeah, that's why he set the tattle alarm while he was doing the trick. And then basically while hookshotting an actual thing that we can hookshot, like the torch there, we can then hookshot all the way to where the extended hookshot last had its tip placed.
And if it happens to be near a loading zone, we're just going to hit the loading zone. Oh, I missed the thing. Nice. Okay. So this fight is very specific with the amount of hits that we want to do here. So it's let's count. Whoop. 1, 2, 3,
4, 5.
Oh,
light arrow.
Oh my god.
Hot. Never mind.
Okay, wait, and then 1.
1, 2, 3. All right, nice. Got the knockdown.
And then we need to do 4 now.
1, 2, 3, 4. Light arrow.
Light arrow.
Light arrow. And 1, 2, 3.
I think what the last one hit him.
Yeah, I think we got him there.
Yep, there he is. And so now we just need to do 3 with 2 more light arrows. And that's the goat fight. I actually do like that fight on 3D. Yes, it is different and probably not as fast as it's definitely not as fast as in 64, but it feels quite good to one cycle him like properly with the right amount of health.
Getting the initial knockdown requires that you can either hit him a bunch of times on his legs, or you can jump into the air and hit him once on the torso as Goron Link to knock him down. So it feels really good to get the jump and the torso hit to knock him down quickly.
And we're gonna go ahead and pick that up, and that's our goat mask. We're already done with Snowhead. Faster than we could enter it, it's already over. And then we only have one more dungeon after this, and that is Great Bay. But we have a few things we need to do before we go to Great Bay. Because if you remember, we've got a few Zora eggs that have been sitting in our inventory for a while. We don't want those to go bad.
Not with how expensive eggs are now.
Exactly. We got an omelet we need to make. I mean, we need to let those eggs hatch.
Hatch, yes.
Our boys, the Four Giants, are just telling us a funny little story about a friend of theirs who needs some help. I wonder if we're going to run into that guy. So actually, here's a question I have, but if you do the goat cutscene skip, do you just skip the remains cutscenes, right? You don't skip, like, Snowhead unfreezing.
No, yeah, you skip all of them.
Oh, really? Wow, that's
yeah,
nice.
because you get the remains, and then... but you get the remains, like, the fight restarts, but if you time it correctly, you also get the remains as well. And then you can just warp out.
That's really nice. I'll have to look into that trick. Now that I have more of a handle on the goat fight, I feel like I probably can do that. The hard part was like making sure that I could fight goat in the exact same way every time, because he needs to end up in the right spot for you to do the Goron missile.
Yeah.
All right, back to the Great Bay Lab we go. Back to the lab again. You notice the sky is getting funkier colors as we get closer and closer to the night of the third day.
And thankfully, we did not collect any Deku Nuts, so our bottle duped over the Deku Nuts did not go away and just delete our Zora egg.
The worst place for Deku Nuts is Woodfall, because there's a couple patches of grass in the Odowa fight that can give you Deku eggs if you don't know where they are, and there's a pot on the Deku platform that opens up Woodfall, which also has nuts in it. So those are the two, like, avoid those at all costs. And then let's say you messed up the Goron missile to the Deku platform and had to take the long way around. You have to kill some Deku scrubs who could randomly drop nuts. So there's a few places you can end your run in Woodfall alone from Deku Nuts. Luckily, they're less of an issue as you get out of Woodfall because you need them less. The symbols, what could it mean? Probably my favorite song in the game, the coolest of the songs required to open a dungeon.
I think my favorite would not a song to open a dungeon, but my favorite would be Oath to Order.
Oath to Order is a good song. There's something that's really like epic feeling about when you finally play it and the giants are coming. Well, I guess I didn't need a poke shot there, but I did just for the safety of it. Okay, so we've got the Zora eggs, we've got New Wave Bossa Nova, we can open up the dungeon. Let's go do it. Oh, that's always a funny Goron missile because you kind of get stuck on the wall and then he just like yeets into the loading zone. Alright, Zora, flashing lights warning while we swim. Oh my god, if I could swim, thank you.
Zora Link was like, nah, I think I'm gonna walk underwater for this one.
I would really like to stand there and just shield repeatedly. I think that would be a great use of my time, said Zora Link. I can never jump up that wall correctly. So wait, we're gonna need to refill on a few things here. We need... There we go, and let me save. Because we're gonna have to spam the home menu more than we've spammed it at any point in this run. And that's because we've got another trick coming up. Now this is redemption. Last time I did mess this up, so we're going to get it this time.
I have faith.
Let me just make sure that we are set up.
Yes, this is going to be the turtle raising cutscene skip. So what's going to happen here is we're trying to pull out the ocarina on the last frame before the bomb explosion would push us into the loading zone here. Just like this.
Now...
And we're... Yeah, if you want to explain the next part.
No, you're good, you're good.
Okay. We're going to... Bernita is going to be home buffering to find a very specific frame to pause the game on using the start button. So, like, actually do in-game pausing. Because in Majora's Mask, if you pause frame perfectly, cutscenes can never start. So what we're attempting to do here is get one pause in and then, which won't allow the cutscene to start, but will push Zora Link into the loading zone. So we load inside Zora Hall while the cutscene tries to start.
Got it. Easy money. I always knew we could do it.
Easy cutscene skip.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another carryover because that trick is possible in N64, just in a completely different way. Which I think is kind of cool that, like, it's still possible. You just have to get more creative with what's available to you, which is kind of the story of MM3D, really. It's like some of the same stuff is still possible, it's just that they've removed some of the means necessary to do it, so you gotta find new means. Blaze your new paths forward.
Become a space Goron.
Become a space Goron. That should have been... So on the back of the box, I was waiting for when I could talk about this, they say, swim with ease as a graceful Zora, and roll over enemies as a mighty Goron. Now, I'm gonna be honest, the swimming is anything but graceful, but you do roll over enemies with ease as the mighty Goron. That is definitely true. And there is a second...
Shouldn't the tagline be, go to space as a mighty Goron?
The Goron Space Program. So we could technically have skipped this cutscene too by doing by playing Song of Double Time while on the turtle at a very specific point in a way that like reloads the area but makes it think that we've already stepped on the turtle and activated that cutscene. I do not go for it because it's a little bit goofy and I haven't really learned it, but just noting that it's something I could have done there. All right. You guys saw this in the last run, and would you believe that it's just as easy to go straight to the boss room from the first room in MM3D? Because it is. And now we're in the boss room. Just like that.
Okay. Folks in the chat, people watching this on YouTube when it releases in about a week or so, can we get art of Goron Link in the Outer Wilds spacesuit?
That would be incredible.
I would, as an Outer Wilds fan, I would appreciate this.
So we've got a very different fight than you're used to if you've seen N64, Georg. Because there's a giant eye.
The first phase of this fight, the only real difference is the giant eye. But then Grezzo said, well, hang on. What if we made a second phase to the fight? Which is what we'll be seeing after we do the typical 3 cycles on the eye here.
this part is you're very like reliant on his movement and him being nice to you here. Oh, I was trying to side hop and I pressed the B button instead. That's okay, because he only needed one more hit. And now we gotta jump into the water because phase 2 is gonna begin as soon as he dives under. So let's see if we can get some extra hits on him here. Nope, that's okay. It's really hard to get enough hits on him to like actually skip a phase when heading into the next one. I haven't been able to do it. So just like the other game, he's gonna spit out lots of tiny Georgs. But unlike the other game, they've added mines.
Yeah, and unfortunately, where those mines come up is RNG. So we just kind of have to hope that one spawns close enough that we can get into Georg's mouth here. I think, unfortunately, their Georg turned, and so the mine didn't have a clear path to...
I felt that as soon as I was turning, I was like, oh, wait, bad angle. Okay, let's see if we can get these two. They're very close to him. We gotta move quick because he's been sitting here for a second. Okay, that's one.
Okay.
He absolutely trolled us the last time we did this, too. Like, he refused to cooperate. Oh my god, there was a mine right there. Okay, where are you going? Okay, so this is, it's, you're at the mercy of both the mine placements and where Georg decides to sit. Okay, that looks good.
Yep, there we go.
We need to do this 3 times. Now, one thing I do like is I think Georg's design is much more threatening in this version. In the N64 version, he looks just very silly. To me, he's like he's like a kind of like a purpley blob of a fish. And here he looks a little bit more like...
Yeah, I think the significantly increased polygon count helps a lot here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And the texturing work as well.
Yes. Yeah, he looks like grosser, like just more fish-like. I don't know about this
angle. It's not Manta Ray Georg from Minish Cap.
Okay, I'm just gonna let him do his thing. We'll get him next bomb. Okay.
Yeah, this should be a good one.
Whoa! Don't swim into the mouth. I was trying to swim away.
He like teleported you into his mouth.
I know. He's just like that. He gets all the advantages and you get none. Okay, we've been handed a good angle on a silver platter. And 2 mines to make it work. Oh, don't turn. Okay, thank God.
Got one.
Thank
I did not want to put my foot in my mouth if they're saying that this was a good angle. It's good, he's dead. That's the final boss. We're heading into the end game here. And we're already in the 3rd day, so it's going to be pretty easy to get over to Majora from here. Let me go. I need to refill. There we go. All right. One last Giants cutscene. And then we head into the final boss. Well, we watch another cutscene, and then we'll head into the final boss.
Yeah, this last segment of the run is about 10 minutes long-ish. I think that's not including the time of this cutscene, but it's very long, and most of it is just cutscenes.
Yeah, like it's like over half cutscenes, and then the final boss.
Didn't know the game turned into Echoes of Wisdom.
Echoes of Wisdom.
I mean,
the cutscene game.
It really is the cutscene game. Like, I recall it being timed out that, like, I think Glitchless is, like, at least 50% cutscene, if not higher.
Yeah, I mean, that's what happens when, for whatever reason, the game just doesn't have cutscene skips. With a few exceptions.
It's interesting to look, like, when you see like the difference between games that have like a cutscene skip button versus games that don't, because it's like games that don't have to you have to expend a lot more energy to be able to even skip cutscenes, because then like that's part of your tech is skipping them.
Yeah.
All right. So there's a couple ways, not a couple ways. There's one way you can get into the tower, and it's Goron Missile if you want to. But you can also just make it midnight, which I'm gonna do because I don't want to. I just don't need to add one more Goron Missile right at the end of the run. But you can do it to be faster. Like on N64, they will clip into the clock tower using like hovers and stuff. It is faster for sure than like actually making it midnight. But luckily, I feel like we don't waste a ton of time making it midnight here, so it's not like you lose that much.
Yeah, unlike the original game. In the original game, you can't set the specific time of day when you play Song of Double Time. It's either the next night or the next morning. But because we can specifically set it to be like whatever hour of the day we want, makes it very nice for getting into Clock Tower.
Yeah, huge quality of life change on this version, and honestly, one of the best, which is that you have that individual hour selector whenever you're using Song of Double Time. It makes so many things so much more simple. Oh, hey, this looks familiar.
I had a brain cell that we shared there for a second.
All right. Great time to stretch. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna crack my back real quick and touch my
Time
toes.
to do self-care.
Always feels good to do like a toe touch stretch.
How many folks in the chat have registered for SGDQ? Because Summer Games Done Quick 2025 is going to be live in Minneapolis. From July 6th through the 13th, and you can register to attend the event by May 26th. That is the cutoff. So you still have some time to figure it out, but if you want to, you can use !SGDQ in the Twitch chat, or you can visit gdq.gg for more information, and that will lead you to your way to be able to register for the event. And I hope to see y'all there, because I'll be there.
I am registered. I can't wait to go. We've got some games in the submissions as well, so hoping we can get in with some fun stuff, including MM3D, which would be very fun.
What else did you submit?
We got MM3D, so it is 2 3DS games, 2 DS games, and then Conqueror's Bad Fur Day.
Okay.
MM3D, Lost World 3D. I had an incentive to add the special stages because it truly is something to behold. And then
It really is.
DKRDS, and oh god, what was the last one? I am blanking. Oh, Animal Crossing Wild World, which is
Gotcha.
I submitted that with a glitch exhibition. That game is busted, destroyed. It's amazing.
Folks out here have already booked flights. I have to book my flight this weekend.
That's something that I drag my feet to do every single time, I'm gonna be honest. It's because it's always like, oh, I don't want to pay the money. But, you know, you gotta. If you want to go to cool events to see your speedrunning friends.
So I will be there. I will be working the event, so come say hi. Similar to past GDQs, there was a Hotfix booth. I'll be there at the Hotfix booth. Come say hi if you want to meet me, chat Hotfix stuff, or just chat speedrun stuff. So I'd love to meet fans of the show and fans of Hotfix.
We can talk about the Nintendo 3DS and all the great games available for it that are in need of more speedrunners.
Brandino out here peddling his wares.
That's what I do. I push the 3DS.
I mean, it's true. There are a lot of really good speed games on the 3DS, like OOT 3D, MM3D, and A Link Between Worlds are all awesome speed runs. It just kind of sucks that the 3DS is terrible for capture accessibility.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate that, like, it's not only that, like, you can't just, like, buy a physical card, but you have to send it to somebody to get modded, and then you wait for it to come back. I can understand why people, like, aren't, like, you know, super gelling with that type of system, and I completely get it. I will say, too, though, and I always get on this soapbox when I have a chance to, you do not need a capture card to speedrun 3DS games. What you need is the 3DS. and that's it. You need a 3DS and you need a Dream. Like, before I got the capture card, I recorded on my phone upside down on a cup for not 2 years. I'm exaggerating. For a year. And I made it work for a while. Did I eventually get a capture card, and does that now make me a hypocrite? Probably. But all I'm saying is that you do not need the capture card to speedrun the 3DS. People always think that it's a prerequisite when it's not. You need the 3DS, and that's really all that matters.
Yeah, I've legitimately hosted a marathon, not on GDQ, where we had a 3DS run that actually was handled by someone with a really good desktop table, like, camera pointed at 3DS setup. Like, it was actually really high quality.
Yeah, at the right lighting, really cool. With the right lighting, it can work. Like, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. And yeah, even if you don't submit to the leaderboards, that's okay. That's perfectly fine. Like, speedrunning is supposed to be fun.
Yes.
And
speedrunning is
supposed to be accessible.
At the end of the day, too, it's a self-imposed challenge. So it's like, yes. Leaderboards, all this stuff. It's ancillary to what really matters to you personally as the runner. All right,
we got some gameplay here.
Yes, we're out of cutscene world. This mask fight, I love the redesign of this room on the 3DS version. It looks beautiful, genuinely. Like, it's very high quality.
It's so purple.
I know. What did I say earlier? The purples in this game are just like off the charts. Oh, I thought that didn't work.
Yeah, I almost got
I also thought that missed.
I thought that was gonna miss too. Okay, well that was just that was all expertly planned. So I'm kind of adjusting my camera here because now the remains are gonna be joining the fight, and if I can keep the camera away from them, or at least keep them out of my direct line of sight or anything, they won't attack me. But it can be kind of hard.
Is thankfully pretty consistent.
Until that happens.
Until the camera turns away, yeah.
Unfortunately, yeah, he's flying away. Okay, oh, yes. Yeah, him getting away from you, it can be deadly. Luckily, we were able to salvage that. Because once the mask starts doing attacks, like, he's all, oh. I always do that. After the last hit, I put on the Zora mask, even though I don't need it yet. All right, that's phase 1, Majora's Mask. Now we've got phase 2, which is this freaky gremlin guy. Majora's Incarnation. Sick music here, though. I always like this theme.
This is still the most unhinged boss in Zelda.
It is very unhinged. I'm gonna refill arrows and magic here. And we're gonna take some time to kill the remains because I do not want them in my direct path when I'm fighting Incarnation. He's already enough of a problem as it is.
Yeah, there's one attack that Incarnation can do, which is basic. This one right here, which if you get stuck in it, it's just a complete stun lock that takes away at least 2 of your hearts every single time. It's pretty bad.
It takes forever. Like, once Link is like in the shock animation afterwards, like he's like in it, like you can't get out of it, you can't cancel the animation. You're just like stuck there watching Link get hurt. But now we're gonna stun lock him. Speaking of the stun lock.
It's actually really sick.
I do like this strat. It's really cool. And what's nice about the boomerangs is they give like they can do like 1 to like 2 or 3 hits sometimes. So it's like you get a lot of bang for your buck with using the boomerangs, and then you just immediately shock him and he falls over. But then you can lose track. Okay, cool.
Nice recovery.
And yeah, okay, we got one more phase left, and that is the Wrath phase. And this looks similar but different than your classic N64 Wrath. So time will end here on the final hit of Wrath, which is going to be after 20 punches with the Goron mask. But first, I need to not put on the Goron mask because I have to stun him first with the arrow. I got put on the Goron mask out of habit. Oh, and he's got a style on me real quick.
Good old horse before the cart.
All right, hang on. That's okay. That's okay. We can hit him again.
16, 17, 18.
Oh, wow. What a rude guy.
Wow, what a jerk.
He pulls out the Beyblades after the last couple hits, though, so then he really stands still. 20 hit time. Sorry about that one. But hey, we got him.
And GG's.
GG's.
GG.
We got some stuff that I didn't get last time that I wanted redemption for, so I'm very happy about that. You know, we got a better Wrath fight, and we got the Zora cutscene skip, so a lot of cool stuff. I'm really happy we were able to show off a lot of good, great run today.
And since you were so keen on trying the split every time you could, that was a 155.33.
Not bad. I just recently PB'd to a 151, so about 4 minutes off of PB, which is really, we're hitting my average time with a 155, which is great.
That is not bad at all.
155, I used to be like, I want to get a 155, and then I'm going to chill in the category for a bit. And now I get 155, and I'm like, wow, I could have easily improved on that. So we're really reaching new heights here. I grind this game a lot, so while I have a second to talk about myself, I'll just say that if you want to follow me, I run a lot of 3DS games. My main focus for the last few months has been OT 3D, but after bringing this game back out to run at this particular marathon, I think I will be running this game again because I am so close to a sub 150 time. So I'm going to be doing that. And I also run DK64 on Mondays. I call it Monkey Monday because it's fun. That game, I need a hard break from that game every other day of the week, but Monday's good for it. And Jim, if you want to talk about yourself, please.
Yeah, I speedrun Zelda games. You can Google me if you want to find me. But yeah, make sure you guys follow Brandino as well.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jim, for being around here. This is the second time now Jim's been able to provide some really great commentary for MM3D with me here, and I'm really thankful that he was able to come do it. And I'm thankful to Amber for having us. Passion Project has been a very nice show to me. I've been on here a few times, and I'm always happy to come back. It's so much fun to be able to share all these little 3DS games with the world. There's something that I love about the idea that this tiny little console that's sitting on my desk, you're all seeing it in such high quality and so big, you know? I don't know. There's something, the novelty has not been lost on me still after having a 3DS capture card for nearly 3 years, where I'm like, that's my 3DS, and it's on the big screen. It never gets old.
It really doesn't. As someone who also has a capture card, it's just that's so neat.
Every time I start playing a new game, I'm like, oh, what does it look like on the capture card? And surprise, it looks like the same game that it looks like on the screen on the capture card. But, I had to look, right? I needed to see it for myself.
Yeah, thank you again for being here and for being willing to do this run. And Jim, thank you for doing fantastic commentary as well. And thank all of you here in chat for being here tonight. And remember to look after yourselves and your loved ones. Drink some water, stretch your legs, eat a snack, take your medicine or vitamins if you need to. I've had a migraine for the last hour of this run, so I have taken that medicine already. And remember, you are valid and you deserve the best, and the world is a better place with you in it. If you did happen to miss out on As Seen on TV or Passion Project, you can stay tuned and as we replay both shows after this, and tune in this weekend for a weekend full of Souls and Souls-like speedruns with Oops, You Died 2 Electric Boogaloo, starting Saturday and Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern. So that's going to be tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern. And you'll catch me again on April 25th, Friday, April 25th, starting around 10 p.m. Eastern time, following up As Seen on TV, where we're going to be revisiting the Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown community a year after release to show off a lot of what has changed in that game with a 4-category showcase, and that'll follow up with a really cool indie game called Vivid Lope. So I will catch you all in a couple of weeks, and I'll see you on the other side. Have a great night. Bye.